and stuff to fill those and mandatory overtime, so, oh, it's clear as mud.
Yep. Okay, it
She
is
coming up
Monday,
today?
December 14th, 2020. We'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Born and unborn.
The only thing we had on there was the
Fire
fire
station.
station thing. If
I put it closed in case you want to discuss it closed.
I'm sorry?
I still haven't seen the contract.
Okay, you got any minutes and reports received and
Yeah,
filed?
the November 2020 collector fees filed.
Okay. Commissioner Committee Liaison Reports, upcoming meetings and events.
Another meeting tomorrow
Mhm.
and Wednesday.
I don't think I have anything.
Yeah, I kind of left this week open. Right now, there's a WebEx going on between the health department, the hospitals, and the city, but that started at 8. And sometime this week, we'll do a press conference WebEx again, but I'll wait for Chris to tell me when that is. So that's all I've got. Commission comments? Bids and contracts? Any unfinished business? So the fire station discussion, build out,
Yeah, their attorney was gonna let me know this weekend if any of them registered an objection, and nobody, and emailed me that he hasn't, so I'm assuming it's all good with them. There's one issue, Matt's good with this, but there's one issue that had to be hammered out. It's the insurance. So they had us adding them as an additional insurance, which we could, but Rick not. Their attorney and I both talked to Rick, well, heard from Rick, and his suggestion is that even though we're paying for that construction and it's coming from CARES money, that we turn it over, the ownership to them, and then they can insure it because it's part of their building, and it'll be a little bit more for them. And Matt and I talked, we want some protection for us if we're spending that much money, so we have an annual term, so they can't just cancel on us, kick us out after 90 days. But I did put an exception in there that we can pull people out if the staffing levels drop and there's a need to move those people back to, say, Southbridge or another site. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that's kind of nitpicky, but Matt and I used that as an opportunity to do the flip side, which is, yeah, you don't get to come into our borders without being permission of being accompanied either. If that makes sense. No, you can't, we won't block your entrance, you can't block ours either. Now, you know, a lot of that's just common sense and you can work it out, but they put it in there, they wanted it in there, so we used it as an opportunity for mutuality of terms. There's one thing I noticed, and we do not have a not to exceed on utilities. So So, Kristen probably won't sign off, don't worry, Kristen. Interestingly, on those other ones, which is one back at 13, when Mark and Paige were here, there's no not to exceed on the utilities either.
I'm just keeping it rolling. I don't see anything in there. Makes me any heartburn.
I mean, I agree, there's some stuff put in there that, you know, you can just handle with a phone call. But they wanted it in there, and I guess it clarifies.
Yeah.
I don't see anything in here about them not accessing our ambulances or our storage cabinet.
Should be in there.
It's not.
Well, it may be more generic, okay, generic.
So we got narcotics in the ambulance, and we'll have possibly narcotics in the storage cabinets.
Okay, here we go. Okay, under station restrictions, 1, likewise, FPD personnel will not enter CCMS veterans or access any CCMS personnel items or equipment. So, I mean, that would be, include the ambulance. Okay, equipment, this is under 9, equipment and supplies owned by CCEMS shall be secured in the assigned portion of the building when not used and shall not be accessed by non-CCEMS personnel.
What are we doing?
Um, everybody good with this, or?
Yep.
Okay.
Kristen, should I get a not to exceed on the utilities?
I think it needs one, yes.
Okay, so I'll call Mark today and get an estimate, add it in, so that they can sign that tonight, then we can put this back on the agenda tomorrow to sign.
Yeah.
Does that sound feasible to you all?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, we'll be back Wednesday too, so. Well, tomorrow's it starts at 9 or 8?
8.
So, we'll just put it on there for 9 o'clock then or whatever.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. And we will go into in-house budget discussion.
Pass that over to Chris, please.
You guys tell me what where you want to start?
You have a list?
Where you want to start? Let's talk about economic development first. Let's do that.
Okay.
And he's like, that's not easy. 4-8.
Might as well get the hard ones out of the way, huh?
Yes.
I don't know, it might not be that hard.
I'll save that one till this afternoon and we're worn down.
So right now I have the 120 in there. If you guys want to change that, we can change it.
I'm fine leaving the 120 in there, but figuring out where it goes might be the second question. Part B, alright?
Well, I think the request was for 185, so do we wanna just do the 120 to, or do we wanna do like 150,000? And I think we still have 5,000 we do for Salute to America.
Well, and then if you're,
Towards 60.
I'm sorry?
I was leaning more towards 60,000, which is what we pay our Eco Devo now. And then maybe the other 60 that we're paying for our government relations, we either bid that out if we're gonna continue doing that, or we'll leave that in there, and then once they get some money from their private investors into it, then we can do some kind of tiered match program. But I don't know. I know we had one of them say he'd write a letter of intent right here, so they've got people saying they'll do it, but they're not done yet, so.
Well, I guess the question I had was they're asking for 185 from y'all, 185 from the city for 370, but they're only asking for 300 from private people. Like, why wouldn't their share be the same? Like,
So
why wouldn't it be 3 equal parts or?
the meetings I sat through, the initial budget that was thrown out there was like that. It was 150 from the city, 150 from the county, and then 300 private. And then the extra 35 that the city throws in there, I guess they kind of were an earmark that for special projects or something, so. I thought they were coming in asking for the 150, which never made any promise one way or the other. That's what I had thought they were gonna ask for, so the 185 took me by surprise too.
So yeah, I have the 5,000 for Salute, I have 60,000 for strategic and 60,000 for Polaris, is what I have in the budget right now.
So we could either just stay at the 120 or go to 150, and then, I don't think we need, I think lobbyist has worked very well, but basically you need a lobbyist like January through May or till 1st of June. So you could bid that out, or we can, just have a lobbyist just for when the legislature's in session, and that's not gonna be $60,000.
What's the name of the new group?
Polaris,
No, the,
JCREP,
no,
Jefferson City Regional Economic Partnership.
whatever you decide to do, you know, I mean, whatever amount you're gonna give to ED, if you want money in there left for lobbyists, you're gonna need to add that to the top, so.
Yeah,
Feel free to chime in, Harry. You get to vote on this, so.
I thought along the lines of what Kristen said with respect to the partnership, some sort of equalization between public and private. And then also, Chief, again, like Jeff mentioned, it's contingent upon the private money being raised and perhaps quarterly installments on whatever numbers decided upon as they accumulate private money towards their $300,000. There's a $75,000 trigger to get 25%. $150,000, they reach that plateau, then it's 50%. So
I think one of the challenges that they're looking at though, obviously too, is hiring an executive director, and so they need some type of financial commitment on our end to secure some of that funding.
right.
So,
so if we did this, the Polaris portion would go away for sure. The strategic could possibly stay. Is that the breakout? Strategic's the lobbyist, Polaris is the,
well, I think you gotta look at it in combination there. I mean, so I think Sam's idea is strategic, but be minimalized, maybe cut in half, and then, more money would go to ED.
we need a lobbyist the most when the legislature's in session. And I think it has worked, I think. So I think we need to have a lobbyist from January to June 1st or something like that. I don't know, you know.
So I guess we're just talking about the total number. I mean, we can work out a contract, or we can work out triggers with them later. But I mean, do you want the 120 like Jeff suggested in there for ED, and then another 30 in there for lobbying? That gets you to a total of 150.
155 with the solution.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm just talking about those two, but
That's kind of what I was thinking.
How much did you say?
well, it'd be 120 for economic development and 30 for lobbying. I mean, that's we're just talking about a placeholder.
I'm good with leaving it at 120.
The total in economic development.
Plus the 5,000, I guess, for the salute. So we had it at 125 last year, correct?
Well, we had other things in there last year, so you had the bicentennial and the Port Authority grant match, so we were 155, 685 total budget with those two items in there. But those two went away this year because we paid them out.
Now we can put the 155 in there, doesn't mean we have to spend it all.
No. I kind of like Harry's idea that we pay them you can do it quarterly or,
Now, right? Monthly with the difference now. But before we did, before with the cheaper, we did quarterly, like.
After they give you a quarterly report.
I mean, I'd be good with just a placeholder at 120 and 30. I mean, what do you think, Harry?
Plus the 5.
Plus the
Plus the
5.
five,
yeah,
we've
yeah,
always-
Yeah,
Plus 55.
yeah.
yeah.
We used to do more than that for Salute to America, but last 3 years, 2 years?
Yeah, I know we reduced it at some
Yeah,
point. We were
so-
doing 10 at one point, but cut it back to 5.
Yeah,
Okay, sounds like that's done.
yep.
Okay.
So we're gonna have 150 in there for whatever we wanna put it towards, economic development, lobbyists,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
so whatever comes up.
And they could hit the ground, you know, running and really accomplish a lot, and we,
Who?
the economic development, or,
But you haven't put anything in there for them.
no, but we've got to,
That's what they kinda wanna know. Excuse me, is how much they're gonna get. So, wanna wait till we approve the budget and then start handing it out, or because we need to terminate our agreement with Victory, or what?
was that just through December 31st, or?
It's month to month is all I know.
There's a calendar year, yeah. I mean, there's a contract or an agreement, I thought.
Pretty sure it only runs through December. It would have to be re-signed in
Right.
January.
Yeah, so,
So obviously, you know, if you put 120 in there for economic development, you know, they could come ask for the full amount, and you could negotiate an agreement with them.
But
Do you want an answer to that today, or
do what?
whether or not you're gonna get to them, or you good with just,
I would just, you know, do a placeholder right now, and then we'll,
so when you gonna decide then? Because if that's how their contract goes till December 31st, each month to month that we go is $5,000 out of that amount that goes towards JCREP. And I know one of their comments was trying to get the public money to get the private money coming in, which I could argue the opposite, but and I'm only willing to go 60,000 at this point, and then we can figure out the rest of it. Once they have more money coming in, maybe they get a director hired. I think their budget was a little bit too high. I think they need to skin it back a little bit. So,
do you want to just tell them we've got 60,000?
I'm just one, I'm throwing
Well, I
it
know,
out
but I
there.
mean, do you want, I mean, that'd be kind of half of what we're talking about. So that gives them, you're saying they need to know, if we say, okay, right now, we're gonna give you 60,000, so, you know, in January, you know you've got that from us. Is that,
Well, we need to figure out what we're gonna do with it, because December 31st, it's gonna be right around the corner. And then, like I said, if we go past that, we're gonna still be in with Polaris Group.
But those contracts end the end of the year unless you renew them.
I mean, the earliest you can sign a contract with any of them is after the budget's signed.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you have to encumber money now.
I thought you were just saying we needed to let the,
I think they wanna know.
yeah,
There's a lot of
so,
people we let know before January 1st that they're gonna have a check coming.
well, then we could
Either that, it'd be shutting our lights off.
say, right, you know, $60,000 is what we will give you now, which is half of what potentially they could receive. And so that way they know they've got that. And, so are you good with that, or do you want to just leave it as a placeholder for right now?
It doesn't matter to me. I mean, I think they were just asking kind of to have an idea. And so if you're gonna give them 120 coming
Well,
January
and,
1st, then, you know, y'all can decide that. I'm saying 60 initially is where I'm at with it
Yeah.
right now. Cause I wanna see what other direction they're headed with the director, what other private funding they get.
So, so it could be that's, potentially they could receive 120,000 from us. But that gives them, we're giving them 60,000 now, and say July 1 or something like that, if they have really moved along, we could give them additional money quarterly, kind of like what Harry
Yeah.
had suggested. And if, you know, but at 60,000, you're saying, okay, you've got this much to get started.
Yeah, it's not near what their ask was.
Well, no, but it's kind of like
So-
when you make your Christmas list, you know, and if you got everything you wanted, that'd be great, but if you get half of it, you're,
You know, a big chunk of their expense is gonna be salary. I don't know how difficult it will be then to go recruit when they don't know what to offer the hire person that they're about to hire. How do they lock in a salary when they're unsure of their sources of revenue fluctuating this much?
Well, they got 185 from the city already. So that's a pretty good little start there on getting somebody hired.
Well, I agree, but if 6 months down the road, the commission's not happy with what's going on and stops the funding, they still have salaries. I mean, it would be a start and then a stop for their operation. If you put it in the budget, but you make it contingent upon performance, once you get where you want to go.
So you're saying set aside the whole 120?
Right.
But it's based on performance when they get it distributed?
yeah, yeah. But I was just saying you could give 60,000. Jeff is saying they need to know how much money they've got. Well, this with the 185,000 gives them,
They would like to know. That's what was relayed to me, and so my comment is get some of your private funding coming in. And, you know, it works both ways there, so they're working on that.
So I think they need to know a total number of what they have to work with for the year. I mean, hypothetically. So, I mean, you can't just say, I'm gonna give you 60 grand at the first of the year. I mean, they may not need that.
But that's all I'm willing to give for next year right
I,
now.
well, I get that.
So,
I get that. I mean, I'm good at the 120 level.
Well, I am too, but
no, there you
I
go,
don't
you
know
got
if we
two.
need to
But-
give it all to them.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm good with it. But again, it's, there are some contingencies before we give them.
But I think that's kind of what they need to know is,
That's the contract you need to work out with them
right,
next year, but
here's what I have set aside for you, but then
Right.
is there stipulations on when that gets distributed?
I mean, it could be quarterly at 30,000 a quarter or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Or 30,000 up front.
I'm good with 120,000.
So we got 155 in there, right?
Yep, so I left 120 for economic development,
So-
30,000 for lobbyists,
Then
and
we
then
can-
5,000 for,
So we can hammer out the details later, I guess.
Mhm.
okay, so I went through and adjusted sales tax down, to be a little more conservative with our number for next year. And then I've taken out cash forward and contingency so you can see where the budget is. Basic revenue.
So
I
we're,
have general fund loaded, we may as well start there.
So where you at? Where's the sales tax revenue that you got projected?
Well, so sales tax and general fund is just the transfer into the 60%. So it's not an actual like sales tax line, it's just that transfer. And it's in 113. This 4080.
it's just the offset of the taxes that we go back.
Right, right. So in general fund, that's all it is. It's not sales tax coming in directly, it's just the transfer from the EMS sales tax of the 60%.
So what did what was the sales tax number that you used? Just a number, was it 6.5 or?
I did 6.8. So let's look at one of the funds that actually has it there. 650 easier. You know, so.
That's the actual number, 6,969.
That's what I had in there originally. The actual number is 7048996.
7,048,000.
Yep.
That was
Like
a
8.5.
8.5%.
Yep. So I actually cut that in half and I did a 4.5% increase from what we brought in 19. So I went back to 19's actual number plus 4.5% to get to your 6.8.
I'm just concerned that it could fall even more. I mean, may not, but. Surprised that we're up 8.5%, to be real honest. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see us look at that 2019 activity for budget at 6,579. But just flat.
Well, then,
But, well, just, hey, before you change it, let's just talk.
well, no, I was gonna tell you, the 6507130 would be flat for 19, so
Okay,
you're
alright.
seeing an accrual adjustment in the 19 number that's showing on your screen. So
Okay.
6507130 would be flat.
No whispering.
I can't remember if I sent it.
Couldn't remember, she sent me her spreadsheet.
I don't know, thoughts?
I was thinking go 19 flat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking from the get. I don't know if this thing we're gonna get hit.
So, tell us what that's gonna do to the budget.
It's gonna hurt it.
Yeah. So,
Cause I don't think that we've ever gone flat to flat. Usually we have some sort of increases, smaller increases, 1 or 2% from year to year. We've never gone flat 2 years in a row. So it's definitely going to create some issues. I mean, this alone is creating some issues in some of the funds. Law enforcement and EMS, this is gonna create some issues just going to the 680.
We could take the average of the last 5 years excluding this and go up by that. I mean,
But my thoughts was a 2% and a 2.5%, so you didn't take anything from 19 to 20, you figure 2% there, and then another 2.5 going from 20 to 21, so that's where I got to the 4.5 from the 19.
right,
it could be a,
I mean, you know, obviously with the retail season that we're having and a lot of people doing online shopping, I mean, how much is that gonna hurt, you know, local retailers and whoever as we move forward? Or how much do people just scale back as,
Yeah, it's not pretty. It's-
Department of Revenue had to go.
speak if you want. Don't be shy with it.
You know, the governor and the legislature have just come up with their consensus revenue estimate. And it's, you know, I'm sure it has subtotals in it, and one of the subtotals is sales tax. I'd be interested in knowing what the state officials have determined is their consensus revenue estimate of sales tax.
I think you're right.
Of course, now they're on fiscal year, but assuming that's not a big deal.
My only concern with that is that, I mean, some counties in the state are seeing a drop this year already, Boone County being one of them, because they're losing all of that influx of students. So I think it's gonna be hard
There's other reasons
to
too.
compare.
They're shutting their own selves down. That's their own
Right.
fault.
Well, but
So-
those students,
You're
for
right.
the most part, are back in St. Louis County spending money, or wherever. I mean, some of them are out of state, sure.
Right.
But we've got
Not in St. Louis County.
Missouri students going out of state and coming back home. That probably is close to a wash. The internet thing is a interesting thing. More and more of internet sales are being subject to state sales tax, but not local sales tax. They don't know how to get this. And the legislature can't seem to fix our local sales tax issues since the Wayfair decision. I'm going all the way back, in other words, dropping the revenue number by 8.5%. That's what we're talking about doing here, if we go back to flat 19. That seems a little bit conservative. That's right.
Just talking here, I mean, it may be some pretty conservative, it may hurt some too, but you'd hate to see it drop even further. I mean, you could actually see a decline. You haven't seen that ever. I mean, we've been up by several percent, you know, the last several years, but we've never seen a decline in sales tax, but never seen a pandemic.
No,
either.
this,
We were close to it a couple of times, in 8, 9.
We were at 120, but not by much.
Trying to find that file, I got some
What were
old
we
ones.
historically over the past 5 years, you know? Yeah, that's all.
Sorry, my brain is fixing my printer and I can't get on. Stop working in a little bit.
Servers back to 17, 19, 18, 19, 20.
About $100,000 from 17 to 18, and about 100,000 from 18 to 19. And we're up about 150,000 this year.
which I still don't. Oh.
Chris, these some counties that you talked about that have reduced local sales tax, are they rural counties, or are they shopping center counties?
Yeah, the only one I
You
really,
mentioned Boone, but that's a college town.
yeah, the only one I really heard from is Boone. I've talked to Cape Girardeau, there's I know there's quite a few of them that are up significantly, but Cape Girardeau is a college town as well, so.
Cape is, I always kind of look at Cape because we have so many similarities and.
Low population.
Yeah, and so to me, that's always a good comparison.
So basically you're up 4% if you go up to 6.8. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it may be more, but yeah.
So when you say it's gonna hurt, what do you mean by hurt? I mean, raises go away, what else?
Possibly, I mean,
Position.
positions go away. I mean, EMS is going to be one that is already taking a significant hit because of the 700,000 in additional salaries for the 10 people. I don't have any revenue coming in from CARES though for anything other than their actual reimbursements at the moment, so no salary reimbursement into there, but, I mean, this is what we're talking about.
But you could offset that cost with the CARES funding.
Are we setting up a Zoom or anything for people to be able to get in on it? They need to call in on discussions.
I have not known. I figured if you needed them, you could call them.
They're watching anyway.
They can call,
Mhm.
Huh?
they can call in to participate.
Or yeah, I mean, I don't know, we've never set up anything like that in the past.
We've also never had a pandemic while we were doing this.
It's kind of hard to split screen. Express.
So if we're talking about the sheriff stuff and he's quarantined, how would he be part of the discussion? We just take scissors and start cutting? So, we gotta get him.
Wait till
Picking
he
on
gets
him
over
'cause
there
he's
and
here,
we
but-
start talking about it.
Makes you feel better, I'll come here sick.
I mean, I can call everybody and tell them to come up here and sit in the room and listen, I don't,
Watching it on video.
No, yeah, I don't think that's necessary.
So then if they're watching it on video, then how are they supposed to be able to get us information? Who are they supposed to call
call,
then?
text, email.
What's the number up here?
Right there.
Okay, so can we
Is
come to a
extension?
consensus on a number we want to try to work with?
So what are you,
She's at 6A.
I'm at 6'8".
We all initially like flat. I mean, can we pick a number? Will it
918.
adjust the
901
whole
is extension,
budget or
so if you're
something
listening-
once you-
I have to
911.
manually adjust.
9108.
But there's not that many lines.
Okay, so for flat, you said that was 6507, right?
Well, it's not really flat, it's flat to 19, it's flat, it's not flat to 20.
Right. So that's where I was asked, flat to 19. So what was actual in 19?
65071.
That was actual. Then what was that other number you had for 19? The budgeted number?
The number that's showing an actual is the accrual amount. So you back out January's amount because there's actually December and you add January the following year, so. 6507130 is cash. 6578480 is accrual.
So where'd that come from? The extra January you're counting into?
Well, so she's.
January and
she's taking-
February that
yeah.
you get in this year is actually from last year. So to get to
Okay.
accrual, you take those two out and you add January and February the next year to get to what the state's amount for our calendar year would be.
And the year before that.
Okay, so that was the numbers, so the January, February numbers were down when that money actually came in.
So there's 71,000 more if you include January and February of 20 into the calculation. So you back out 19's January and February, and you add in 20's January and February.
So those 2 months are actually bigger?
Yeah.
Okay. I was looking at it the wrong way then. I don't know, it could go either way too.
So we just-
There's another package that comes through and all of a sudden you got people with more disposable income and may not have, but
Kristen, isn't the county going to recognize like $1.5 million of, I'd say, transfer of wealth from the 20 CARES numbers that kind of rolled into 21?
Yes, so we will see a surplus from 20 that will roll into 21.
Which will,
Because you're seeing all of that growth from the 6507 that you budgeted in
That's
that,
gonna
in
roll.
20 that actually turned out to be 7. And there's other things too, use
Right.
tax and things that are
But-
up, over and above what we budgeted.
but when we talk about the additional crew at EMS, in a sense, that's sort of covered. If you match those dollars with some rolled in dollars. I mean, the reason we're gonna have it is because of COVID. That's why we're gonna have the expense. That's also why we're gonna have it, because that's how we're gonna get the revenue.
Well, so theirs is just a little bit different, only because we're really only transferring the tax to cover their operations. So our transfer into them is not a set amount of the sales tax, it's to cover what they need to balance their budget. So their situation's a little different, but yes, essentially.
As long as the positions would go away, then, if you don't have to cover it just for 1 year, and then it's not
507, so, and you're saying we're over 7 million, so there's a $500,000 surplus there.
Mhm.
But we don't see all that because part of that's coming back from rollback, right?
So you don't see it all in this fund, yes.
Right.
That, and we had a budgeted deficit in here because of the money we were spending on capital.
But would you receive 60% of that, or what's the offset there? What do we get?
60% goes to general, 40%
So
stays here.
60% of $500,000, roughly, is what you're gonna see.
40% in here.
Do what?
To see the 40% in here would go up by that.
40% general?
No, the 60% goes back into general.
Okay,
Yeah.
40% offsets the rollback.
Yeah.
So right now, if you look at 2020 activity, the 1.2 is the bottom. But we haven't transferred yet for December, I don't think it's been made out there. So we have 60% of the sales tax from December that's still gonna come.
I entered it yesterday. Can you see that? Right.
And there's probably some encumbered stuff, so that's where we're at as of today. We have a $1.2
Right.
million surplus.
Right. I guess what I was getting at is that you took, so,
But we have the other half of the unit. Yeah. We probably have $1 million coming out of there.
60% of $500,000 that we've collected this year is 300,000. So if you took the flat number and you took the extra that we got from this year, that gets you at 6.8. Following my math? Not really. I mean, so, yeah, you're projecting, well, could you say you're projecting growth? I could say you're projecting nothing, but you're taking extra revenues that we received this year and using that to move forward into.
Well, really, if you want to consider it that way, you should drop that revenue and you should spend down your carry forward. There's a difference.
God.
You shouldn't be supplementing your revenue number with money you're carrying forward because it's not new revenue. So you would back your revenue number down and you would spend down your reserve.
Yeah, so,
I mean, Chris is okay with keeping it flat. What do you guys, are you comfortable with the percent increase from 19? Or go back to 19? Because it is just a gamble.
Well, so-
unfortunately.
so Kristen kind of said it in another way.
Right.
I mean, I'd be better off projecting flat and spending down my carry forward, still get you to that 6.8. But maybe not quite, maybe it's a little different.
So
and how
I think
things-
if you want to do that, we should back the 6.8 down and then we'll spend down reserves.
But how does it, that's gonna affect other funds differently. But could we do that in those other funds as well?
I would say we need to come up with the sales tax number you guys are comfortable with, and we will use that across the board. We're not gonna say in one fund it's different because it's a half cent in all three of the funds. Even though we break capital improvement sales tax down into 1585, it's a half cent. So whatever it is in one, it should be fairly close in the others. There's usually $50 to $100 difference at year end. I'm not really sure why, but the number should be fairly close in all three funds.
So can we talk through what basically is in the budget and your numbers? I mean, you've got a raise in there, you've got positions in there. So everything that was in your original budget is still in there
Mhm.
with the number of 6.8.
Well, so we need to look at each of them. I made the changes, but some of them are still in the black, some of them are in the red, even dropping to the 6.8. So, and like I said, EMS, I put in all 10 people. I haven't changed that transfer amount yet. So we need to work our way through, but this is the first step to working our way through. So if you want to start with a smaller number, we need to start with a smaller number.
that's kind of chicken and the egg there too. I mean, if we start with a smaller number and now it just causes all kinds of problems down the road, I mean, now we're gonna have to go back and change it all again.
So tell me about your philosophy on what you think the sales tax is gonna do, aside from where we wanna be with other issues in the
Right.
budget. I mean, what is your?
What's the comfortable number? Because
Right.
then you need to work your way backwards to it.
I don't think anybody's gonna like the comfortable number for me. But, I mean, what do you think, Sam? Can you come off the 6507 or come up a little?
I think you should do at least a 1 or 2% on the 6507. If you don't wanna do the whole 4 that I have in there, I think you need to at least take a 1 or 2% on that.
Or 1.5 for each year and go with the 3. Assuming that we would have had a 1.5 this year, and then we would have had a 1.5 next year, which would put you at the 3 plus the 19.
So, we came up to say 6, 7, or just talking here again. And the bottom fell out, that's why we got the reserves to
Right.
Mhm.
offset that, so.
And then plus the next year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Plus, we're gonna carry some money forward from this year. So that could potentially help offset it, so. I mean, I think I could get to 6, 7, but, that's just, I mean, I'd like to see us be at 6,507, but, I mean, I don't. So that's just me. So,
Well, 2% on the 6507 is 6637.
What's 3%? Debbie's number.
Six, 702, 343 is 3%.
It's fine. 6, 7.
yeah, I mean, it's, you know, instead of the 100,000 you've been up the last couple of years, you're up 200, I mean, roughly. I like even numbers.
Are you guys good with 6, 7?
Yeah.
That's reasonable.
I am.
Jeff's a no.
Now,
Move on.
It's, just go, you got 2, I'm on the fence on that one.
You okay, Harry?
Yeah.
I can live with it. I'm not gonna sit there and fight till now. I'll fight something else later on. I'll save my energy. This is
Still
a,
early, huh?
well, this one here's a roadmap and there's a whole bunch of different ways to get there. So,
I've got somebody at the governor's office that I work with asking Dan Hogg, who's the budget fellow at the state, for the sales tax incremental increase or decrease, whatever the state's looking at. Now, their fiscal year, 22, it's, you know, the year that starts July 1 next year, but we'll see what they're gonna do.
But they were down like several
Well,
hundred million
Their total,
dollars.
Yeah.
their total GR is
Yeah.
down, but sales tax is not, it's not like it used to be.
Right.
It's income tax is where they make their revenue. Yeah, they're down like 40%.
I'd just be worried if it went the other way. We've not really had any, and we had, you know, the only one I found so far, 2011 and 12 were pretty flat. But otherwise, there's been increases in there. We've been lucky with it.
across the Republic.
Be smarter.
No, not at all.
Bring that down. We're gonna need to change that and go through. That 8850.
Well, 2011, 12, and 13 were all pretty flat. They were, very small change there.
So.
We were down at 9 from 8.
Yeah, we've never had anything like this pandemic. This,
Okay, so
Yeah.
I changed admin fee in there, I changed transfer, I changed sales tax. This is where we're at with EMS capital or sales tax money. We will come back here because the transfer to EMS enterprise is going to have to change, or we're gonna have to do some work over there, but this one at the moment is done here. You guys have anything else you want to see changed?
Yeah.
I wish there was a way to blow it up to be the size of that box, but there's not.
To use the whole wall.
Yeah, yeah.
I think once we get the TV in here, you're right, something that you can see it better.
So like I said, the big piece in here that's still going to change is this 1250 that's currently transferred to the EMS enterprise fund to balance their fund. Could have to change still due to the addition of additional people in there. So that's the piece, and it will come out of contingency, the difference there. I don't see the capital improvement or the ambulance amount changing unless you want to change the number of ambulances or the capital improvement items you have listed.
Just balance of that.
We're carrying forward to one, contingencies to 5 at the moment.
Bringing on extra people, you may need to buy additional ambulance.
And he does have some things in capital improvements that are still outstanding. Those fire station bills, his permit bedroom bill, those are still encumbered and then it's just whether or not we carry forward that open PO. So open POs after the last budget run will get added back into everything as well. There you go.
You guys good with this? Just leave it as is?
Yep.
Yeah, for now.
Okay.
Hey, we may not have the budget fully done January 6th, right now is the date we have on there. I know you don't care.
I won't be here.
Okay, it's on there for the 5th, I'm definitely not gonna be done the 5th. Can we push that to,
The 30th?
no,
Ha!
no,
That's statute.
no,
That's
no.
what they do, sure.
I'd like to see if we can get it done the 7th, which is that Thursday. Are you good with having a meeting on Thursday just to do the budget?
I don't think I'm out of town or anything, so. Okay.
Are you good with that?
Yeah, I just have after.
We're not cutting off revenue till the 4th because that's the first day of the year. Everyone will be here, so treasurer gets a day to pull everything back. So to go in and fix all the carry forwards and all the open POs is not gonna get done by the 5th. Okay, so do you you want to tackle EMS while we're in here talking about EMS? Is that where you wanna go next? Theirs is a little bit easier because theirs is step increases, so there's no COLA or
Well,
merit.
that's easy, let's do that.
Now, be aware, if we don't give anyone else a raise, I think the agreement has been there will be no steps in EMS. Right now, the steps are in there because there's a raise for everyone else in there. Keep that in mind. I do not think that I can get dispatch split out before the end of the year. So, my approach is going to be we leave their budget as is for 2021 with the idea that we will work throughout the year to truly track those dispatch expenses with them possibly being broken out in 2022. There's a lot of questions and I'm not going to get them answered in the next week. I mean, salaries is easy, I can break out the people that work in dispatch, but there's a lot of other expenses, and they have a hard time getting things to hit the right account at the moment. I do not feel comfortable that they're going to split those bills to get them split out even more. So we need to do a lot of talking and be very clear about what would get split out and what would.
Yeah, I think we need to approach that very cautiously
So
and not do it,
Yeah,
and then come back and go, oh man, we screwed up.
Well, it doesn't serve any purpose then.
No.
well, and there's a lot of things on the plate to get done in the next 2 weeks with CARES that I don't have the time to devote to do this and do it correctly.
You have those, 10 new,
Yep.
10 positions in there?
The 10 are in there, so that added the 747,066.
Where's that at?
You love
At the
this,
bottom
Jeff.
is the last column.
Love it.
Oh,
The difference between revenues and expenditures. Your net revenue expenditure.
oh, you're saying the total there?
Yep.
The difference. I only added about 400,000.
Well, it's more than that because you have to add the scheduled overtime piece, which is an overtime,
Right.
plus all the benefits for it.
Okay.
So the 747 is truly pretty much those 10 people. He had some small changes when he was up here, so I think he went in the hole maybe a couple $1,000, but most of that is the 10 people.
So you said something about that transfer in of 1.25.
So-
Is that gonna change?
Well, so here's the thinking on that. The transfer in this year was 1,581, but we also brought in way more revenue with the GEMT program. So you see the 500,000. We do have some expenses to that, so I dropped his transfer in by the difference between the revenue for GEMT and the expense for GEMT to try to hold him flat. So he's bringing in more revenue internally. We're gonna leave our transfer in flat to try to work our way back down to the million where we started.
So you think cash?
Yeah, so that's the reasoning for backing it off at the moment. We could bump it back up.
So your cash is the 953, 344, and your contingency is the same, or?
No, so we've been trying to spend down his contingency for a while. His contingency is only $500,000. So he has a built-in deficit at the moment. We have not been getting there at the moment, so.
Is that, the extra 10, is that for a full year?
Yes, they're in there for a whole year.
Okay.
Because I couldn't tell you when the attrition's gonna get it and when COVID's gonna budgeted the 10 for the whole year.
And he's also looking though at attrition, so, you know, yeah, you've got an additional 10, but, you know, paramedics, they come and go.
We hope COVID comes and goes.
Right.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you gotta be, they're making a big deal out of the vaccines, but, so, but I got a feeling his calls are gonna continue to be up for the foreseeable future.
Did you do anything to the revenue side for the increased business?
No, I haven't really seen that. We had a drop at the beginning of the year because the calls went way down during the initial shutdown. Now it's picked back up, so I did not change their fees. Like I said, it could go up slightly.
I think Matt, while he was here, mentioned that there needs some revenue, that it's not a money-making thing, but there's gonna be some additional pay transfers.
I just know I've heard that with some of the other stuff we've done and we haven't seen it. So I'm scared to, I think you could go to 365 instead of 355. So I think you have 100 to 150,000 in there that you could bump his fees up. And like I said, we could bump the transfer back up. And we currently only have CARES money in there for reimbursing his emergency fund. So the 95,803 in coronavirus relief fund is currently only that reimbursement. There's no salary reimbursement in there yet.
Which that was the plan, is to reimburse the salaries and cover those expenses.
When you ask for it through CARES, what you use it on, once it gets over there, still up to you.
Right. So you've got the step in here, right?
Yes.
You've got the additional people in the step in here.
Yep.
And we're showing a deficit of 747.
You're eating
which will
healthy.
be offset by CARES funding, so.
Too much pizza. Mexican this weekend.
That's
So do
good.
you wanna leave fees and
That's
transfer
good.
in where they're at the moment? And assume that the whole 747 is going to come from CARES?
I'm good with that.
Yeah,
So I'm just going to.
Well, I think revenues will increase, but I'm fine leaving it where it's at
I think they will.
and be on the conservative side there. I,
So that's the minimum number we need to try to get for CARES, and then is that number.
and that 747 is all paramedics. So if there's EMTs in there, then it'll be a little bit less, but I'd still rather budget on the high end. And
Right, and that was
CYA.
my thing with budgeting for the whole year. I don't want to budget 6 months of extra people and then go on longer. So they're in there currently for the whole year.
Okay.
Anything else you wanna look at with his? I did change, insurance, based on Debbie's number for insurance.
It was quite a bit in that department.
I think that was the only change, otherwise than the
In that
one.
department, what do you mean?
We added extra vehicles.
Oh,
So,
I thought you were talking about health insurance, but you're talking about equipment insurance.
so you see that auto insurance went up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Is that enough in there for accidents?
No, it's not in
Huh?
the,
I put 2,000.
oh, okay.
Do you want more than that?
Well, the deductibles are still gonna be 2,500 going into next year versus.
So that would give you 4.
We could go with 4. And
So
then-
John, no hitting deer and no more hail.
No, this isn't John's budget yet.
Yeah, we-
No, I know this is in, but I'm just, everybody, no more hail, no more.
I don't care if you do.
They can hit all the deer they want, huh?
Okay, you guys good with this one? At the moment? We can always come back, but
Just Sounds good.
Yep.
Turn page.
Okay. I wanna go and knock out the easier ones, maybe. So, let's do assessor. Budget. I took his cash forward and his contingency out, so you can see basic revenue and expense. The 2% is in his budget, but nothing else. So, we probably need to talk about where you're at with COLA and merit before we go any further.
We usually do that like very last.
Well,
We're here, we're here.
we're
Yeah,
here,
I
I mean,
can laugh,
salaries is
'cause
what
I-
we have to talk about, so you're there.
I'll be laughing every December for you.
Let's go TP his house every December.
We're
Only
at the
if-
end.
Only if Wheeler let me use his beanbag again.
For you, Ray.
Everybody added merit to theirs.
We had lots of requests, so, Chris had a request for one employee to get a bump. It is not in there, all that's in there is the 2%. And the 2% is in there, and he has a surplus of $8,112.
I'm good with the 2%, not merit in there that he's asking for. And I'd even be good with doing a flat amount instead of a percent. I know some people don't like that,
I don't
But-
like that.
No.
so. I figures y'all wouldn't and I do, I mean, that never happens.
I think a flat dollar amount, if you wanna do a flat dollar for merit, maybe, but when you're talking about a COLA, I think it screws up the scale.
I understand, but I still think that that flat amount means a lot more to somebody that makes a lot less.
But I think it creates that compression issue as well.
Yeah, that's a dumb word. I hate compression. Yep, I don't disagree.
So 2% COLA, 2% merit.
2% COLA, right?
What's in there now?
What's in there now is
That's
a
in-
two
what's in
percent
there.
COLA.
Didn't you say 2% COLA, 2% merit?
No,
Oh.
I'm just asking a question,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, it's a 2% COLA at the moment.
When you look at the universe of employees, 2% COLA equals how many hard dollars? Roughly.
How much?
Well, it depends by fund, so,
This one.
yeah, I have it here.
About $800 a year, right?
I just spent, looking at
Right.
50,000 feet, the county budget expenses have gone up,
Yeah.
that's dollars.
1% is like 200,000 or something.
So I don't
like
have
that.
it across the board, but like in the assessor's fund, it's 9582 in salary plus benefits on that, so you have, what, 13%
Oh.
in benefits.
Almost like 12 people there.
So far, the whole county though.
It's more than.
So if I come in and ask you, what's it cost us to do 1% raise for the whole
18%.
county?
I'd have to go through and,
It's like 250,000.
well, so like in
Right.
general,
So-
it's,
And I know it's just a round number, but that's what you're talking about. So Debbie, I know you've told me that before. It's like 200,000 or something for the whole county? Or is it million two?
1%.
no,
I'll take it 90,000 without benefits.
so 115,565 in general. for 2%.
So, John? I don't know. Don't you have someplace in there where you put 2% or 1%, just take the difference between the two? For the whole budget?
It's multiple funds and
Yeah, it's a
accounts,
lot.
77,818 in the sheriff's department. Public works 33,764.
So Debbie, I know I've come to you and asked you this before. If we wanna do a 1% raise, what's it gonna be?
We're gonna tell you in just a second.
You told me before. It's just a round number. Was it 200,000 or was it 400,000?
Hold on, 1% is probably about close to 100,000.
100,000?
I may be wrong, maybe 70.
236,720.
I think that's low.
2%.
I thought it was more than 100,000. Wasn't there a number we used before, Chris? I don't know where that's at.
118, and then you have to take benefits on that.
That's close, 180.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, it could have been closer to 100 when we had less employees.
Right.
All right, so how much did you say?
118 is just salaries. no
1%.
So for a round number, 100,000. Gives you an idea. I'll say it's more than that.
And then you're another 20,000 in benefits on that.
40% on
So
So figure
2%.
150 for across the board 1%. That doesn't include EMS, which theirs is more than
that. Theirs is
2%.
more than 2%.
Their steps are more than 2%.
But if we do more than 2%, they still only get 2%. If we get 3%, they still only get 2%. So,
I think their steps are closer to like 4%.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, they are.
They are.
It varied, didn't they? I mean, the different steps were different.
I don't think they were that much, were they?
Yes.
No, they're that much.
Are those longevity steps, is that what seniority steps is?
Well, they kind of top out then too. So,
7 years, isn't it? 7 or 8?
yeah,
7.
incrementally larger in the front, kind of tapers off to try to hold people here. And then kind of.
Yeah, it's almost a 5% in that first step.
What is it in between 3 and 4? It's like 1.5 or something. It goes.
Uh, 3.7%. Almost more.
It's more than what I remembered.
A high-
2.7.
A high turnover kind of mitigates that.
Yeah.
Let's try,
Yeah.
ideas to try to get them in, keep them in, knock them up early. Don't shoot the guy talking here. And then kind of hold them, you know, once they kind of get up here, then you can kind of, once they're here for 3 or 4 years, then hopefully they'll stay. That was what was explained to me.
The smallest step jump is 2.5. And that's in a paramedic, which he changed. I think the EMTs are a little bit higher because some of the ones in paramedic are only a $500 jump. No, $1,500. Some of the other ones are cheaper, so. Some of those are probably a little larger, but the smallest one on paramedic is 2.5. And I'd say the bulk of his people are at step 1 going to step 2, so they're closer to the 5.
seemed more fair and
Yeah.
adequate, because most people
Seems,
gave them a merit, and they gave everybody the same anyway, so.
Not everybody.
no, I think when I first came in, we had some COLA and a merit. And then the merit, depending on the elected official or
Right.
they, you know, you had certain numbers that got a big increase and you got others who didn't get anything.
Right.
So,
Well, but also too, when you try to treat everybody the same, and you got big departments that got lots of people, they get a big pool of merit money.
Yeah.
And you get small departments that have one or two people, you don't have the merit money, and so, I mean, if you're gonna try to treat everybody the same, then the COLA's the only way to solve that, but.
yeah, it'd be nice if we could do both again, but I don't,
Well, so let's do this. So the 2%'s in there. Are you guys okay with the 2% COLA? We can come back after we're done with everyone, and if there's surpluses in some departments, we can talk more about merit. But let's get through, and if you wanna leave the 2% in there, you could increase the COLA too. You could go to a 3% COLA or whatever, but are you good with the 2% COLA at the moment and leaving it in there and continuing the discussion?
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So, assessor has the 2% in there, has a little bit of a surplus, but are you good with leaving it alone at the moment?
Okay, what, according to the Griggs, I talked to Chris, what is a residential real estate manager?
So, we created a title for her last year.
Yeah, she
And all
she
we
supervises 3 people, but he's said she's a residential real estate manager. So,
I got the starting one, I'm trying to think of it, starting.
2021 budget.
So we created a residential supervisor last year with a starting salary of 42. She went to the 42 last year. There isn't anything beyond a starting salary for any position.
So we created that position.
Yep. Because we thought that his commercial appraiser, who had years and years of service and the certification, should be starting at more than the residential supervisor. And really, that person, that appraiser supervisor, is what his position is at the moment.
Which file is that? Is that under yours or is that under commission
Under
budget?
commission charges, another year.
Budget 2021,
Yeah.
and then,
It's not there, it's under the auditors, and it's under salary, full-time salary.
your
Are you
auditor
looking for the
budget,
grid, or people are?
2021
I think
salaries
he's looking
budget
at
officer.
starting.
That one?
But that's not gonna give you that grid, is that what you're after, the grid? This is where people currently are.
No, I was looking at what you had there, and I was looking at that step thing that we did, was that last year?
Year before last, the assessor has got its own tab there.
Yeah, 2020's got the pay charts, step pay chart in there.
You guys good with taking a break for a minute? Got to pee.
Y'all not gonna approve anything while I'm gone, are you?
I don't think so.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. We're done.
We can put him in charge of animal control and to go with his parking. He does such a good job of the.
It includes all the fringes and everything.
Anything, regiment for the driveway. So if you want to somebody budget, any of these things driveway.
So roughly 31%. Or 2%.
Well, but you don't have to figure it on all bases, like health insurance and that, you don't have to figure it out, it's part of it.
Right, yeah.
So, the only one you have to,
Payroll taxes and.
well, is insurance.
Yep.
And
I
some
know
of
it
it,
is a big piece of it.
yeah, it's the majority.
Chris, you got all your blades and stuff on your trucks?
It's the majority of it.
No, we can do that in about 30 minutes, so.
You got everything ready though?
Oh, yeah, we get ready in October.
We put you in charge of animal control.
Yeah, so I usually send some.
I get to carry a gun, right?
Yeah,
Everybody waits till it's
yeah,
done.
if they're vicious, you,
Yeah.
October 1st, we get everything out.
Goose attacks me or
Checked
whatever.
out, we're making repairs that need to be repaired.
I guess we're supposed to get some snow on Saturday, but it's just gonna be a desert.
Yeah, they're talking about flurries tomorrow.
yeah.
We'll probably get 4 inches.
That scares me when they say.
78 degrees, one or the other.
We have people that take deductions out of their check that they're not paying. We budgeted to be.
I got a feeling you're gonna make a lot of money. I think you're gonna make a lot of money this winter.
I hope. I got about 50 tons of
Benefits
salt
on
that I
every
need to
salary,
spread.
no matter what. So that makes a big difference.
And another $10,000 in other ice melt materials that I need to get rid of.
Well, that's-
So it kind of works itself out.
So they have a crew big.
And all the equipment that I need to use.
Yeah, well, it don't matter if you get the equipment ready or not.
We do
you
it
go to
year
the
in,
cut,
so
something's
don't
gonna be
get some
wrong.
financial.
Yeah, we've been pretty lucky, I mean, so
This is.
all my stuff is interchangeable. So if a truck breaks down or a sleigh breaks down, I can pull it off of
In a
one truck
perfect
and
world,
swap it. I
everything
mean, it
stays.
takes 5 minutes, which never happens.
Never happens,
Just
but,
drive
yeah.
out,
That's
drive
why
a
it's
new one in,
fluctuates.
hook it
It's
up.
like so much.
And I'm trying to make everything that way, and,
So that's
a
why
lot of
that
times the
annualized
blades will be interchangeable, but the
even
hookups
actual
will be different.
so
I'm
much
like,
different than that.
hookup's gotta be this one.
Redundancy's a good thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, been through a couple of big snows and
Yeah.
things when stuff breaks.
What I'm doing on some of the certifications I had back here in the jail, taser and everything, I had one guy that was certified for everything, so then he left and we were scrambling, so now I have several people that are on that.
Can't do it.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna have all my eggs in my basket.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, Kristen, let's keep going.
So, back to assessor, do you have other changes you wanna make right now?
I think we had conversion to deaf and that. He keeps talking full-time journal certified appraiser, but I think we
Probably
were,
better off just subbing that out.
yeah.
I don't know how you keep somebody here, not for what we're gonna pay them. And then for the,
Well, he kind of does that a little bit with that Nun company who comes in and does his.
Right.
Yeah.
and so, I think that's the way to do it.
Okay.
But then on the Clear Basin, we had them till the end of February, right? Clear Basin,
I had, let's see, programming, I think I had 3 months
Till the end of March?
Yeah, I had 3 months. Now, that may be December, January, February, because he doesn't pay December, but I think he pays before the fact, so yes, it would be January, February, March.
Okay,
When
well,
they-
and I'm fine with whatever we had talked about, we initially had in there. I was thinking it ended
Well, I
at the
thought
end
you
of
reached
February.
out to DevNet and got a better idea of where or when, and I thought you had a number less than mine. I thought you said that 2 months would be, so I have 3 in there.
Yeah, Clear Basin doesn't really have anything to do with DevNet. They've already done the data dump, so it's there. Assessors just need to be using DevNet, making their changes and whatever cleanup and data maintenance they need to do.
Which someone probably needs to look at Clear Basin's contract and make sure that we give them the proper notice.
We've got a county attorney here, we'll probably have her look at it.
Probably better shoot her an email.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to say?
Look at Clear Basin contract.
Yeah.
See
See what,
what notice we have to.
have to
because if we
give
have
them
a 90-day
to
notice, we're
terminate,
getting-
yeah.
We're getting close.
terminate our contract.
I think it's just month to month,
Okay.
And the
anything else is-
residential real estate manager is the same.
You are going to have to change the title and the starting salary if you want to make that change.
Okay, I'm just,
Nope.
I don't know.
No, we made a change to it last year already too,
okay.
Okay.
I just said I would,
So let's go to Road and Bridge. Small purpose first.
So did you want to make that change or not? So you just brought it up.
I
You
just
don't
brought
wanna
it up.
make the change, huh?
I had met with Chris and I said I would, but
Okay.
I think she pretty much runs the department, but that,
Maybe he could give her some of his salary.
So,
could have been the deputy assessor,
Oh,
but
come
they
on.
already have one, so you can only put
I'm
one
on the way
in.
out, I get to take shots.
so again, Road and Bridge, I have updated the salary that you changed this year, and it has the 2%, but he had some additional changes in 2021 that he wanted included. They are currently not in there. And we talked about his budget holding his contingency at 2 million. So he has about 321,000 that we talked about putting in vehicles for those one-time purchases. If you want to put additional money in salaries, it will come off of that 321.
Road and Bridge.
And his proposal was about 16,000 additional next year for certain positions. And I think he may have sent you all an email this weekend.
yeah, he has a different kind of creating departments and,
So that is here.
Do you have a number in there for the county engineer too, or?
We bumped that one up to 85 is what he proposed to have in there. He said depending on what applications or what people apply, but he has the 85 in there at the moment to give him that wiggle room. So the column L here is the increases for next year. The total of that column is 16,666.
Yeah, which is really not that much. I think we need to support Eric and let him make changes, and I thought it was, I like it where he's got everything kind of broken down, so. I think he and Brian are,
So the bottom number in the first row, first column is proposed. And then is this the one he sent us just the other day?
Yeah, this is the one that came this weekend.
Okay, I got it right here then.
So that 16,666, that doesn't include benefits on it? That just salaries? It doesn't include
No,
benefits?
that's just salary.
Okay.
So it would be another 18%. Roughly.
But all the other stuff is just salaries, right? Is it salaries and benefits?
What?
His under amount of 49 and some change. And then he wants to add 16 and some change. Those are both salary numbers. That's not any benefits whatsoever. He's basically keeping the 32,000 under his existing budget, right? Am I reading that right?
Well, I'm not sure where he's getting his number from, but I have 1744 was what was budgeted in his salary line this year. 1731 is where I'm at right now. So if you add another 16,000 to that. He's gonna be 3,000 something above where he's at this year's budget. So he's going to be using the same amount of salary. I don't know where that savings is coming from. That's his spreadsheet, not mine.
Are you showing the savings? What your standard wouldn't be?
Yeah, I don't, if I add that 16 in there, I don't see a savings. And actually, we had payouts, but I don't know that we budgeted them.
Did we budget the payouts last year? I guess we did budget some.
Some we do, but it's more than what we thought it was gonna be.
I mean, now, let a lot of years walk out, and using that same amount of money.
I mean, he could be using that projected number to get there, but that projected included those payouts. It also included the duplication of Eric and Larry for however many months that happened.
And Brian came on before they left too, didn't he?
mhm.
What?
Brian came on before both of them left too, didn't he?
Yeah, so there was some
good
overlap,
position.
but that's why my projected number is 1.8.
I mean, so I'm good with putting the 16 or 17,000 back in the salary line. I mean, the commission has approval of all that. So,
Yeah.
then you're gonna have some benefits on top of that.
So you want a flat 16, you want the 16,666? Do you want to go to what his budget was last year and he can stay within it? What do you want to do?
That's kind of what I understood, that with his chart that he was working within where he was at last year. So I didn't have any initial problems with that, but now you had some changes in there apparently, or,
Well, his may not include the 2%.
I don't think
Maybe
it
that's-
does
Oh,
because we did some
okay.
adjustments in the middle of the year.
It was
1,744 plus 2%, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it says it doesn't have the.
Well, that would be way more. That would take you to 1,779, 2% on the 1,744. You just tell me where you want me to add 16,000.
Yeah, well, was it 16,006?
666,
Yeah,
667 if I round it.
I think we need to give him the tools to reorganize or create his, and,
I wanna see where he's at if he's doing that all within the existing budget, cause he's showing that he's actually below. So I'm not sure where the difference is at. If he's gonna go over it, then it may be a question.
I'm 1,731. $1,747 is where that 16 will take you.
And you see where he's at on them because they're close, but he's showing that he's saving money. So is there a spot that he took some away from or?
Well, he is saving, so if you take the 1,744, multiply it times 2%, which would be last year's number, well, maybe it has some overlap there, so it's hard to say.
I need a mouse.
But you're saying go, if we go
Well, so-
flat, it's this number, but if you go flat plus the 2% raise, then we don't have that in.
Well, so you don't know what that 1.744 was the activity last year. But there was some overlap with Larry and Eric, and of course, we didn't have a county engineer, so you take that out. I mean, there was a little bit of overlap there, but took 2% of that, you're at 1.779 or something, almost 1.78. So there, it's obviously less than growth, just 2% growth within that department.
Does that include, I mean, he's eliminating a position and separating the duties into two of them and adding to them, but saving money there. So where's the difference at, I guess?
So the 16,667 actually cost you 21,092 with benefits.
Because did we do them adjustments this year? No, we did them like 2 years ago too. So I was gonna work within the numbers that he's got right now. And maybe his numbers are all right. There's just a different way they got to them.
So that 321 or whatever the number, 301 or whatever it will be, that just go in the contingency, or where does that go?
We talked about putting it into vehicle equipment, so they had some
Okay.
vehicles
Some
and
replacements,
equipment,
yeah.
yes, that they wanted to spend, so we talked about that amount going into there.
Right. Yeah, I'm good with the 667. Because, I mean, that should cover it. I mean, I doubt that they're gonna have somebody on it on January 1st, and so
Yeah.
there'll be some additional monies that won't get spent. They need to upgrade their equipment, that's for sure. You guys good?
I'm good, yeah.
We need to see where that difference was at between his and yours then.
Well, maybe you can shoot Eric a message and just have him take a look at it and see if this will work. And he can take a look at it or give Kristen and review it.
Yeah. Just have him get with Kristen and,
Well, I'd say if this salary only includes a 1%, some of it's in that, I have a 2%. So I'd say that's part of it.
So the ones that got their adjustment this last year are not getting anything.
I don't have it in there that way.
You had them getting the 2%.
I have a 2% across the board.
I think
unless
that's where the
position's
difference-
open.
I think that's where the difference is at, because he doesn't have it on his people, but he had it for the new people were getting a 1%.
But I also don't have in there like his bumps for those people at their, is it 6 months? So Eric's is the only one that I budgeted with that bump in there, so part of their bump may be, like, I don't have a 1% bump for them when they hit their anniversary or whatever date he's talking about giving them. And what does he have for county engineer? Does he have the 85? Yes, I think he does.
Yeah. So I think he's wanting to, did he have that in there already about, to the mechanic supervisor?
So those are not in there. Those are the ones he's proposing.
Yeah, that's not even in here. So that's gonna bring it up even more.
That's part of the 16.
and 1666.
That's part of the 16.
Yeah, that's what- That's creating those positions.
Those are the changes that aren't in mine, but he wants to see.
I'm freaking blind right now or something.
That's that chart he,
The green highlight at the top
Oh,
is
here
on
it
his
is.
spreadsheet.
No, I just was trying to find this one here. I didn't want to mention any names, but I was just trying to find it and. I was blind. Okay, so that is in there. Okay. You got that one cleared up then?
So you're good with the 16,667?
Chris and Sam said they were.
yeah.
I don't know where we at are on the numbers there.
That's what he needs to
On
get.
this spreadsheet, I'm fine with it, because he's under. He may still be under, because the others have the 2% in it. So,
Should not change all that. So 301,831 is what he has left, bottom dollar, leaving his contingency at the 2 million. Are you guys good with putting that in equipment?
yeah, that's what we were talking about doing, right? Okay, yeah.
Any other changes you want to see to 200's budget? Again, I did update their insurance amount based on proposed. Don't think, we made a couple other smaller changes that Eric proposed when he was here. I think one was including the cartograph for next year and.
Can I ask a question about their budget?
I don't care.
So we talked about, well, at one point, I talked to Larry about it, I think I've talked to Kristen about them adding a small surcharge to the fuel. So that way it's a separate line item in case they need to do something with the fuel pumps or something like that. They don't have to try to find that money, it just sort of builds up on itself. I'm not saying a lot of money, okay, not a lot of money, but I'm saying that if we can do, I don't know, 5 cents a gallon or something like that between us and EMS, we're the big users, well, probably me, but maybe they can get enough of a line item in there so that if a pump goes bad, they can replace it with that funding, or at least offset some of the funding. But we've talked about it, I didn't know if that was something you guys want to talk about going into the new year, or you want me to just shut up, Kristen, because you wanted nothing to deal with it. Okay,
Well-
I pulled everything that I talked about.
I don't have a problem with that. I think it needs to be a self-service fund if that's what we're going to do. It needs to go into its own fund instead of Road and Bridges fund. So that fund would stand on its own, kind of like our health insurance fund. Like you pay in, everybody pays into it, then that fund uses its surplus to pay for those things. So, I think it's a bigger discussion than just
Okay.
adding the surcharge, but I don't have a problem with the concept itself. It's just,
I just know that when that pump went bad at one time, it was towards the end of the year, they were scrounging to try to figure out how to, I mean, they replaced it, that wasn't the issue, but we should have a fund set up.
How much was it, John?
I don't even remember, that was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, at the same time we were talking about putting in that gate. So that was the discussion on that gate too, so. All right, well, never mind then.
That's something we can look at next year. I think it's
Well-
just any,
And the whole concept, like she was talking about oil changes, different kinds of things like that, we've talked about that before, being its own separate fund or entity that the charges could funnel through.
yeah. I think it's something we can discuss January, February, when things are
but yes.
quieter.
I think it would be an internal service fund, just
Yeah.
like the health insurance fund, if that's what we want to go towards, which takes a little more setup and a little more forethought than just adding a surcharge to the fuel at the moment.
That came out of Road and Bridge, and that should come out by who uses it, how much and stuff, so. That's what you're saying, if there's
Yeah,
a per
should
gallon
be.
charge or something.
And it won't, I mean, I don't think it's gonna fix everything, but it'll offset some of the costs that right now Road and Bridge is having to pay for.
Yeah, it's not a big charge for them if they have to eat.
Right. Because their inspections cost money when they have.
It's like our administrative fees, I mean,
It's not a bad
we charge
idea.
that.
I don't like the administrative fees though. I'm just
Oh,
gonna
no.
say that.
I'm saying, that's not a bad idea, but
So I would prefer to have more time to put that together, if that's something we want to do. Maybe not at this point in this budget.
Okay,
Get
I
down with the
retract
case.
my,
I think it's a good discussion, and I think it's something we need to move
Yeah.
forward, maybe just not this close to being to the end of it.
no, put it up here and in February, maybe we'll,
Just think about what the best way to do it, and then we can kind of throw it together whenever we get through this care stuff.
I can give Eric a little bit more time to absorb what he's
sorry,
doing.
sorry, Kristen.
It's okay. It's okay, John.
No, I'm really sorry, because either tomorrow or today, my budget's coming up. I don't want to make you mad right now.
You may be next, so be prepared. Do you guys have anything else in Road and Bridges budget at the moment?
no.
Okay, we're gonna leave the 2%, we have his 16,000 in proposed changes, and then the 301,831 into heavy equipment. general fund or, law enforcement next?
General's is closest.
Let's
Get
do law
John's done,
enforcement
so
and
you
leave
can-
general fund till then.
Yeah.
General fund's a lot of different departments, so let's,
Yeah, I'm good with approve law enforcement budget.
okay. We have to change sales tax.
Really, Howard?
267. So that change creates a $307,000 deficit. So currently in the proposed was the 2% plus an adjustment of $1,800, I think is what it was for a deputy. To try to get them closer to the $40,000 mark to compete with everyone else. We will see that some of the sheriff's revenues were down slightly due to fees and I'm feeling most of it's due to COVID. Federal prisoners was down 1.5 to 1.4. I did make the insurance change to his department as well. Look at insurance. $10,000 for repairs and things as well.
Unfortunately, a lot of that's the liability insurance. So.
He did have some other changes that were proposed when he came in to talk about his budget. Some of those changes were in here, some of them were not.
I don't know where we'll find $300,000. Would it be okay if you waited until Tuesday or Wednesday to look at mine, so I have time to get my staff together, try to figure out where we can find $300,000? Because even with my proposed changes, taking those out, it ain't $300,000.
I don't have a problem with it.
Some of them
Sure.
are. So let's go down the list.
So I think I'll check that.
Yeah. So the $1,800. So the changes to his stipends were not in there. The deputy from 37 to 38 is. No changes to civilian salaries was in mine. His increase to part-time was supposed to be neutral, so, I didn't change his part-time numbers. We did not fully fund the CCW person. We did move his carry forward accounts into its own department. Training for post-certified is in there, public relations is in there. The total cost of his 2%, is 77,818, that's without benefits. The total cost of adjusting the deputy salary is 59,400. You guys tell me what you want to see. So that's with your capital in there, John.
What's that?
That's with the capital in there. So, there's not an easy way to do this. Let's look at this budget without contingency and cash forward first. Cash forward out. And then let's take capital improvement out. Okay, 205, 246 in the hole. No capital, no contingency, no cash forward. So just basic revenue and basic expense. Found your son.
Yeah, but
Not that, but
Chris, how much money are you talking about putting over in jobs and unrestricted from the CARES?
$205,000.
Well, if you did 600,000, and you did 600 in the health, I mean, that,
And John,
obviously that
did you
could help,
list the changes you guys made
help
about
him
money
for 1 year.
Yeah.
But I mean, so you've also dropped his sales tax down too, which is hurting him a little bit too.
So I still like that idea.
Still doesn't free up a ton of money back in GR to do stuff with.
I know.
I mean, it helps his budget,
Yeah,
but, I mean, if you gave him the 300 there, you still have 300 left to do something with.
yeah. That's-
But get rid of our capital improvements money, that's not gonna help me.
mhm.
No, but we
Well,
haven't taken it out of.
Because that's why we kept his
So it
employees
should
down,
be
so that
included in
but
the
we're also
total.
losing $1 million in the jail.
Yeah,
So
why
it's
not?
reducing my contingency, not that helps. Or reducing my capital.
Not at the moment, because it was coming out of contingency already.
Okay.
So you did have, I think, 30,000 in, maybe if I email this, can you print this for me?
Where's it at?
I'm not-
Oh, you're just gonna print it, okay. What do we do, 3% on the
Yes, yeah.
revenue next year? So like 1.5 for each year? 19 and 20.
Do what? I'm sorry.
We went with the 3%, 1.5 for each year.
Yeah, so that I have the 6, 7 in there.
That was a hospital.
I think that's really all I need is 6, 7 in there. Sorry, John, I didn't find you 100,000.
That's,
305. I thought I found you 100,000, I did not. So we changed the sales tax to 6, 7. He's 305 in the hole. He did have a few changes he made to get a few things in here, but I don't think I have those in there yet, John. Like cell-block phones. We talked about going to 130, so there's 30.
140.
Yeah, so I don't have those changes in there, so there is some money that you found before that's not in here yet.
Okay.
I think we landed on 130, not 140, didn't we?
No, I think it was 140.
you didn't want any CARES money, so.
I don't know. I thought I had it here somewhere.
Huh?
We working with it.
Oh,
You didn't hear you, he's going.
oh. I said, and you still don't want any CARES money?
Nope.
Jessica's printing that, so give me a minute. Trying to get it in color so we can see the changes, and then I need to change his admin fee because we changed that revenue.
Sorry, wrote that down. You used to know. Maybe it was 130. I don't know.
At least that's what I'm showing on this spreadsheet.
Yeah, 130. But that's only $30,000.
Yeah, I think that was the only change to revenue, was we could pick up 30,000 in cell block phones. They signed a new contract.
What's 30,000?
sitting.
But I think most of the other changes, John, were to salary lines or increases to expense lines.
That's one of the other numbers. We'll get some more.
So 267, 175. So John, why the decrease to 1.4 in federal prisoners? We had 1.5 last year.
I think we were just trying to be not realistic. It's actually, because we're up for renegotiation of our contract too, so we're getting the money out of it, but they weren't moving many prisoners. I don't see them moving a lot of them till March. Like they were, like it was before.
We were 1.547 and we're at 1.289, but we only, 1.4 is gonna be closer to where we're at this year, because you're running about 100,000 at the moment, a month, and you got December left to bill. So 1.389 is about where we're gonna be at the end of the year.
And we're only at 47 inmates right now. So we usually, for us to hit the 1.5, we gotta be right at 50.
One of the big changes in this budget had to do with board of prisoners, so that's the state reimbursement.
I gave
We're
him,
behind, I think we're actually caught up through. We're not caught up yet.
No.
She had through September, but we haven't entered them yet. So,
Oh, you do have them through September at
we
least?
do.
Oh, that's
We
good.
do. I think it was September, let me double check. Yeah, so she sent through September last week one day. But we don't have them entered yet. So we may have a little bit of wiggle room there, but
And then,
that one's hard because the state's not sending it. So we're billing it and we see it on our side because we billed it to them, but we have not received it.
well, so the new budget is coming around and they have allotted money for sheriffs. I don't know how much of that we will get. Supposedly.
Sheriff, is this the thing that the governor had in it before, this wasn't funded,
Yep.
the 23 million?
Yes. Well, it was 23 million 3 months ago, so it's more than that now, but, because I don't think they've made any payments in the past. 3 months, I don't think, we haven't had any money from them, have we?
I'm looking right now.
But the problem is that we have billing now up through September, but the way the state does it is it's first come, first served. So if you wait 3 months before you submit the paperwork for the month you're supposed to be in, then if everybody else puts theirs in, then we're on the lower end of the total.
We have not received July of 19 forward.
I would feel comfortable with going up, knowing that we're gonna be renegotiating the contract and knowing that our,
Jennifer does have their, no, that's September 19. So 20, I only have through May in there at the moment.
so I'd feel comfortable in taking the US Marshal money up to 1.5. Especially now that I know we're gonna get 1.4.
Are you guys good with that?
Where are you raising the 125 at?
But
What?
Did you say you're raising something to 125?
a revenue to 1.5.
Oh, to
Yeah,
1.5.
federal prisoners was 1.5 in 2020, we dropped it to 1.4 next year. He's saying we could hit the 1.5 mark.
Well, if you're comfortable with it.
Well, COVID was just, it was a dampener for us, so, like everybody, because, just like we had, there was prisoners that they wouldn't go, the northern part of the country, they wouldn't go and get prisoners and bring them down here. Bureau of Prisoners shut everything down. But that's opened back up now, they're moving prisoners now.
So that would get us to 167 deficit. I mean, we could leave the regular board of prisoners at 342, just know that the state is over a year behind. I mean, we're a year and a half behind at this point.
Well, that's us, like, what's the chances of them paying up, and it's
At
gonna be a
one point, we
one-time
were
payment.
fairly
but-
close, but we,
They're gonna pay something, I just don't know what that is, because, the governor put the money in his budget, so, and we've talked to, the money's coming, I just don't know how much it's gonna be. It was
Well-
23 million, the last time I heard it was 8 million.
I think part of the problem though is there's a lot of counties that are a lot farther behind than we are, and if they've finally got caught up and got their paperwork in and requests
No.
and stuff.
A lot of the other counties, they do it monthly, as soon as it gets done, they submit it within 2 months, so.
I haven't seen a report in a while, so they may have gotten that caught up then, because
So
it
if
was
you
all
leave-
over the board.
if you leave that at the 342 that we had budgeted in 2020, we're down to 64,000 in the hole.
Then that, the biometrics is in there, where my commissary money and goes.
That's all in that carried forward.
Yeah.
I don't think the 342 in revenue is unreasonable, it's just whether or not we'll actually receive it from the state or not. I don't think it's an unreasonable number, it's just whether or not the state actually reimburses us. And we can come back to that when I can ask Jennifer to get us updated through September. Maybe a little bit, she's not up there at the moment. Are you guys good with those two changes at the moment?
I think if the sheriff is comfortable with them.
Yeah,
So, John, I got you down to 64, 848 is what we're missing.
I think our revenues are gonna be up, but
I think some of
prepare for
those
the worst.
fees could go back up, but it's dependent on the courts opening back up fully and those kinds of things that we're really not sure about at the moment. So I think some of his fees we took down just because they were down this year. I mean, if you look at that general execution fees, we were at 240 in the budget in 2020. We're projecting it to be at 203, so we dropped it to 203 for next year. So some of those we could go based on the fact that we think they're gonna come back up. But that's really where we're at. I mean, that's where his fall is. It could be too that we're going to spend 64,000 in the hole this year and see if the fees come back up next year. And that he has to make up that 64,000 next year if his fees don't come back around.
I feel confident that the revenue will come back. I mean, once the courts, specifically, once the courts start opening up, I think, I feel confident that those fees will come back,
But I mean, that's a lot of his fees. Civil fees are down. I mean, it's just the fact that court cases aren't moving. We're not seeing those fees coming through like we normally would.
there's the,
I get the fifth
Judge,
judge
yeah.
going, should that increase it a little bit too then?
It
A few
will.
more things fly through there.
It
I
will.
think the sales tax revenue will be up a little bit too, but.
well, and right now on our civil fees, there's a $10 fee that's supposed to be, that private servers are supposed to be charging and giving back to us. And some of them are, some of them aren't, because the law, I'm not surprised she wasn't written that well. So they're fixing it, this, supposedly this term, they're gonna fix that to where it mandates that any private server has to give us $10 for any service they do within our county. That will increase something. A lot, actually.
I mean, just in civil fees, general execution fees and sequestration, he has the 64,000 that we dropped this year due to the fees being down. If we leave them flat for next year. But just know, if they don't bounce back, next year's budget's gonna look harder, because you're gonna have to drop them back.
Like I said, I am fairly confident that those numbers will come back.
Sooner or later, they have to.
Well, I mean, the courts are gonna open back with the vaccines, we can just start a vaccine, and so the courts are gonna open back, if we have to. We can't leave people in jail without letting them go through due course, due process. Same with the feds, they've opened up the courthouse now, so they're moving cases now, so we'll see an increase in federal prisoners.
Well, you said you were gonna maybe go sit with staff and see if you could find 300,000 a while ago, so you think you could maybe make it lean in some other areas, and then we just watch what the fees do and stuff, and
64 is still gonna be a pretty tough number for me.
Yeah, I know.
Go back and take a look at it.
but if it doesn't come back next year, then the following year's gonna be harder to function with, but.
Well, and then there was a question on the 2% COLA on some of my staff getting 2%. We made it, usually in the past, if we gave them the big pay raises, they would not get the 2%. And the jailers were one that we just gave a pretty good sized pay raise to. So, I talked to Jill, and she wasn't comfortable with it, but I see that EMS is not getting 2%, so.
I thought we did that with, but was that cost of living or just merit that we didn't allow for them? Because we did it with Public Works when we gave them that bump. We said, we'll do this bump.
We've done it both times, we've done it both ways in the past. We've done it where they waived their, I waived their COLA and their merit, and then there was times when we said no merit. So we've done it both ways. I'm not saying it was right, I'm just saying we've done it both ways.
Well, that was part of the argument of not doing it at budget time, which that's what we try to punt it to, is the
Right.
budget time. Well, if we do this now, I really need to do it, but we don't do the end of year raises if y'all do them.
You're right, so we've had that discussion, so.
I think it's just hard if you do a cost of living, and I think Jill's argument is the same. If you're doing it as a true cost of living, everybody gets included unless they're not currently employed with the county.
But doesn't, I mean, the devil's advocate, doesn't that mean then that EMS should get a 2% raise then? I mean,
Well, so I think their step includes their COLA, so they're
Oh, okay.
actually more than 2%.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
But
Kristen, I think I might know where Jill's going on that. You carve out some people say you don't get it, this, in effect, they only do this. Well, I mean, one of the things about, we talked about,
Right.
elected officials' compensation.
Right.
It moves with COLA.
Right.
If you start excluding COLA on certain people, you lose that argument.
that's one we've never approached before.
Yeah, but the difference is, you know.
They got a raise, they just
Yeah,
got it
yes,
earlier.
and it's a bigger raise than a 2%. I mean, it's not like we're giving them a pay raise that's less than a 2% COLA raise. They're getting that COLA raise because they're getting within like with the civilian staff. They're getting that, with the deputies, they're getting that 2%, but they're getting a little bit more. Well, they're getting, I don't even remember how much it is, but they're getting more.
Other thoughts?
Was it 1,800?
And really, we were doing that to compete with your surrounding
Oh, yeah,
competition.
Monaco County just raised theirs, I mean, like 2 days ago. I hate them now too.
Are you the one that gave them COVID?
What's that?
Didn't they have to shut down, or is that Miller?
That was Miller.
Miller had to
They're
shut
already back
down.
up.
So everybody was quarantined.
Pike County, they shut down their jail for 3 weeks, I think it was, because they had, staff was getting sick.
Well, they sent it to Howard or something like that.
They sent them to.
It's either Howard or
Albany.
Cooper.
It was Albany. We're looking at 64.8. Let me go back to staff and talk with them and see if, where we can try to find that 64.8 and maybe some ideas that we have.
Just lean some of it out for now. We can see what the revenues do, and if it's, doing fine, then we can always go back and make you more healthy in certain areas. And I know there's only so much you can cut out. You still have to use your pencils and pens and paper and such, and it takes a lot of that to amount to 64,000. So
I really, truly, I don't know where we'll find it, but
I'd rather you all look at it and see where you think it would hurt you less to take it from. And if it just can't be done, then I guess we'll have to talk about if we gotta.
Well, like I said, if you wanna leave those 3 fees flat in the budget, to what we budgeted in 2020 with the assumption that they will go back up, that would cover 64. Then you can cut it
oh, I
out.
see what you're saying.
Huh?
I see what you're saying now. You're saying leave the revenue lines.
Those 3.
Yeah.
So, yes. Because those 3 are really the ones that are court dependent. I mean,
Right.
or civil fee based, like
Sure.
they're, so if you left them flat, those 3 fees, which would be these 3, 138, 500, let's just make this 240. And took this one to 35. It'd be $652 to the black.
I think that's what we do. I mean, seriously, I'm confident those numbers will come up.
And you can see based on activity, I mean, they were there, they were actually some of them over that in 2019.
And-
It's just they took a
right.
hit in 2020. But, again, if they don't come back around next year, I think you're gonna have to cut them back.
I mean, because on top of getting me to the 64, if I want to do those other things that's not on here, If I wanted to do the stipends to you, I still gotta find that money separate, right? Because you don't have that in your budget.
I do not have those in there.
It's just, so what I would ask is, you go ahead and keep those three revenue lines flatlined, because I'm very confident we can get in there, and let me go back and talk to my staff to see if we can find the money for the other three items that I was asking for, which is gonna be,
So, John, number 2, number 3, and number 5 on your list, I do not think are in there.
all right.
I think that's checked in there. Yeah. You guys good with this at the moment?
I can live with it.
Yeah,
Good at that, here?
So
I
you're
didn't
good
realize
with-
it was gonna take him into the black by changing the revenues. I thought he still had to find some.
I still do have to find some.
Well, if he wants to do anything else on his
For
list that he
these.
asked for, he would have to find additional. This gets him to even with what's in there at the moment, which is the 2%, the deputy adjustment,
Okay.
that was included in the proposed.
I was thinking with even bringing those revenues back, it was still keeping it in the red at 65, so.
No,
No.
those last 3 fix that, if you're good with those 3 Bs. And then we have the Board of Prisoners and federal prisoners that we had talked about before, and then his cell block phones, they signed a new contract, so we're good with taking that up to 130. So the green highlights up on the screen are the changes.
If you're okay with doing that, then I'll leave, if you're done talking on that budget. And then, Betsy's not in today. When she comes in tomorrow, we will, sit down and talk about this and see what I can find on those two. It's 77,000 for the civilians. I don't know, I just don't think I'll find that. I just don't think it's there. I just don't think it's there. But I'll do what I can.
Okay, I'm gonna save these changes at the moment. We're going to consider his budget done at the moment.
You need me for anything else? I'll head over and start trying to. Thank you.
Thank you.
thanks, John.
Okay, Debbie, I need you to write down, did you write down the change for the change?
Yes, yes,
So John's admin fee was 201,000 even. Okay, so.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, but we're talking about all those 10 people, they're about to change their, which it shouldn't have changed, because we added, I think we should take it out of the So I think we're good on that one, it shouldn't change. Talking through. The other one that's going to change though is capital improvements. You guys have a certain time you want to break for lunch? I think we have a break for lunch in the agenda.
Noonish. It's 10:45. I mean, how? We could say 11:30 if we get.
Well,
Or no.
since we're gonna start general fund, which is gonna take a little longer to do, so.
We got on schedule for tomorrow too, till 3,
We do-
5,
We do have it on
10.
schedule for tomorrow.
and then Wednesday.
And you have a lot on their regular agenda.
Yeah, I'll do that first.
Is it at 9 tomorrow, or we starting early?
8.
again? 8 tomorrow again?
Secretary of State's gonna come present us with the bicentennial flag and banner. I wanna do him first.
Oh, that's still not right.
I saw that on there.
Yeah.
Okay, 1005. Let's do these sales tax ones, so you guys can see what I'm changing. So they're 15% of the 6.7 for sales tax income in the capital improvement sales tax courthouse portion. Changes their sales tax income to $1,005,000 for next year. Which changes their admin fee to $30,540. Do you guys have any other changes you want to see in that fund? It's going to balance this budget, this will be 412,113. So this is the last year of that 5-year sales tax, so, that's why we could bump the contingency down even further, but what I have in there right now is $2.5 million in capital improvements. And then the $76,487 for park improvements, which is the rest of their $100,000 over the 5 years. And then $225,000 in capital, computerization. It's good with the,
Yeah, I don't know anything to change in there.
okay. And then the road and bridge side of sales tax, I will go in and change the sales tax figure, and I will also change their admin fee, but, really until I get to after that last budget run for the year, I can't really change a whole lot in projects, cause it will be based on where he's at and what he has left to spend for next year. So Eric and I will sit down right at the end of the year, move that around. He went over the projects that he had in there. If he doesn't have enough money to do them all, he'll have to back one off. I have a feeling he will throw some money into contingency if he has more money than we thought he would. So he kinda has a little wiggle room on those bigger projects that he hasn't bid yet, but,
Oh, we might be done with this today anyway. Except for the sheriff's, but he's gone now. We could be done with it, couldn't we?
You just want to get him back over here, don't you?
He can take it. That's all I'm picking on him.
330. Why did that go up? I don't think I was including the article funds.
So that all systems quote, we don't need that on there tomorrow. So we'll be done with that. So source ad approvals, those will be pretty quick.
Okay, so there's a $222,000 deficit in his portion of the sales tax at the moment, but like I said, we'll adjust that based on open POs and see where we're at. And then I'll leave it up to Eric what project he needs to cut from or what he needs to do there,
Okay.
if you guys are good with that. So, general fund. You wrote it down wrong. 6 people, and I actually, I need to change transfer. We're $22,014 in the hole. And we had some additional requests from multiple departments for merit type increases for employees. The 6 people in there is a deputy auditor, human resource person, a maintenance worker in building maintenance, an administrative person in one prosecutor, a deputy marshal for the new judge, and then the environmental specialist in the health department. Don't know if you want to start with those, if you want to go department by department down the list.
Well, we have to provide the deputy marshal, right?
Yep, I'm pretty much along that line too.
Yeah, I think we have,
Any way around that one?
I think we have to do that one.
The state's gonna reimburse us, right? I mean, otherwise it's an unfunded mandate, right?
You're funny. You're funny.
Not gonna be looking for there.
So
Not
then,
gonna see that check.
so what is Locke?
Lachlan's an administrative assistant. He's added additional attorneys, one last year for sure with the VAWA grant, maybe possibly one year before that he funds. And he hasn't added any admin staff to keep up with the extra attorneys. Now, I will tell you, we also don't have anything budgeted in general fund for the offset of the health department salaries from CARES. So if you guys are talking about doing that, it's not in here either, just like it was not in EMS.
So out of the added positions, I think Marshall's one that we have to do. I just said that.
Yeah,
And the next priority on there, I think that we really need to look at, and Debbie had her, well, she gave us a copy of it and everything too, a lot of very good points on why we need an HR person.
yeah, we're up over 300 employees.
So that
That's,
would probably be my next one in line, and we've been talking about it for several years. I don't know where that person would go, where the office would be. So we need to take that into consideration. Your office is pretty big, Sam. We'll split that up.
You can share with Jeff.
oh, God knows what he'd paint. I'd have to.
That backfired. I just got done redecorating. I can't move.
Remember how out at the old health department, they had like that, it had to have been a broom closet, and they put the desks against the wall. So we got this janitorial closet over here we could make kind of like
Make
that.
Jeff's office?
He can paint all 3 walls.
Well, the old office over here, that was great. All 3 commissioners sat there in the first place.
But I'll tell you, I went, see Judge Joyce's office over there is magnificent. So I would move into her office and then,
I think we got places we can put somebody. but it's
yeah,
just-
I think, but
We're gonna have to
I,
do some moving around, or, I mean, we really need the HR person here, I would think.
yeah, I agree, the HR, and then we can get our employee manual and everything. Again, that's something, it's gonna take some time, so,
And I think you need to rely on that person to come back to time when you talk about salaries. To be your right-hand person. Not so much that your department heads would fib to you or anything, but I think you need another party to look at it from the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Well, you just need to make sure that the changes that are being proposed
Right.
affect the whole salary scale, not just their department. So sometimes those changes have ripple effects to other places.
I mean, that's what.
But they don't want that change if it's gonna go all the way across the board. That's their person that does more than everybody else's. So,
I just think that person would be, bring the facts to you. But definitely needs to be in this office somewhere.
So that's 2 positions.
Can mine be the next one on the list?
Pardon?
Can mine be the next one on the list?
Justify why you need,
Huh?
justify why you need one.
Well, we're gonna have to start hiring out some auditing because we're not getting it done. Just everyday auditing, it's not happening. We're buried with the day-to-day stuff and we're not doing auditing work, we're only doing accounting work. And we can't keep up.
So is this because of the times and care and
I think
everything,
I
or?
think it's been coming for 2 or 3 years, it's just CARES threw it out of control. I mean, I think CARES had a lot to do with it this year, but I don't think that it's going away. It's not getting better, it's getting worse. And you can't quantify the amount of time that you spend calculating and recalculating. I mean, you've seen today the change here ripples down to here and here. It's that all the time, and you can't quantify the amount of time that it's taking to calculate this, and what if we did that, the change to holiday. I probably spent 2.5 days last week and I still don't have it done on trying to calculate the different ways that we could do holiday pay or not do holiday pay. We may throw it out the window and decide we're not gonna change anything, but that doesn't give me 2.5 days of work back that I didn't spend on doing anything else. And sitting down here and things like this, I mean, that's leaving everything to Jennifer to get done for today, for tomorrow's meeting. We just can't keep up, and I don't know what the answer is. I think it's another person, but even if you don't add another person, I'm gonna come right back to you and say we possibly need to bring in an outside firm to do some of the hands-on auditing during the year, because fees and things aren't getting audited the way that they should because we don't have the time.
I'd rather try that to start with, though, is to get a little outside help and get through this CARES stuff and see where we're at then.
Because I'm not gonna guarantee you that HR is gonna take any work off of our.
Oh, no, it's gonna create more.
So if you bring in an outside firm, I mean, is it, in the long run, is it gonna cost us more to do that than if we,
I think so, but I could be wrong.
I mean,
And it's gonna take just as much time for me to walk through and agree upon procedures and tell them how to do what I already know how to do, because I'm still gonna have to hold their hand through the process. So it's going to create more work on the office in the long run beyond where we're at. I'm asking for help to make my position a 40-hour-a-week position instead of a 60-hour-a-week position. And that's on a good week.
so what's the salary?
I have 32 in there.
That's out of my wheelhouse. Harry, what do you, you're a CPA. What is your opinion? Put you on the spot.
I can't issue an opinion, I'm not independent. I don't know what it would cost to farm it out, you probably have to farm it out. It doesn't take long to chew up 32,000 of farmed out dollars. I don't think your current auditor could be part of it because the auditor can't audit himself or herself, so it would be another third party contract. Well, Kristen and I visited about how much time it's taken to do things. I guess the CARES has exacerbated the issue. Let me ask this question. I think in visiting with Eric, Public Works has their own finance person, someone.
So they have, each of the larger departments have someone that enters their timesheets and that enters their accounts payable. So that gets entered by those departments, that then moves across for us to review and approve.
Does EMS have their own?
Yes. But I would say the duties of the person at EMS are less than.
Have changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because they do not have to take
So
over.
when this discussion started at 10:40 on the additional positions, are all those additional positions all in the numbers?
Yeah, those 6 are in there,
Those
yes.
6 are in there?
Yes.
And I guess I kind of drifted off at one point there, and as a result of them being in there, the budget is short.
Well, due to the change in sales tax figures that we did this morning, we are now short $22,014. So I actually had a cushion in there
So-
beyond what I had in there originally. So the bump that we took because of the reduction in sales tax did not affect this fund as much as it could have. But the 22,000 is where we're at right now, in the red. With those changes.
With all 6 positions in
Yes,
there?
yes.
Can we find 22,000 somewhere else out of a $56 million budget or whatever? Or is we're talking just general fund?
This is just general fund, so you're talking in 14 million.
14 million.
I think we could. I think that there are some, if you look at 151, just like we did in the sheriff, which is the court's fees, we dropped those down due to most likely COVID. If you left those flat. That probably would make up some of that difference.
It just becomes harder when you add personnel and cost, because we're a personnel-driven business.
Right.
And if we're banking on using reserves or other revenue that doesn't come every year, then.
So what was the
About like-
starting salary on the prosecuting attorneys?
Is that right now?
Well, we need to get all of them down there and let them all,
Well, I know, I'm just,
when they're employed, then
33,000.
we can just have we got 5 people, 1 position, we
Okay.
can, 5 men enter, 1 man leave. We'll have
okay,
a-
what was the,
Have a brawl.
okay, you're number 4. What are the other
That's
2?
a great campaign one.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And it also comes down to adding people or taking care
We
of.
got health
people.
department,
Oh, the health department, yeah.
Health and one.
prosecutor, maintenance,
Oh,
and we
maintenance.
got the marshal and HR. That's 6?
So those 3 fees, if you did the same thing, you'd be down to $3,500 in the hole. The 3 fees in circuit clerk, which are court fees, which I'm assuming are down due to COVID, if you left them flat for the year instead of reducing them, it would be 3,514 deficit.
That's a rounded error when you're talking about 14 million.
Yeah. And we will have a few carry forward accounts that will adjust year end. So items like health department has, with Medicaid that gets to carry forward their amount. I have an estimate in there, but it will be adjusted up or down depending on where it's at. Those will fluctuate the number slightly.
All of our funds will adjust based on actual sales
Right.
at the end of the year.
What's your HR person in there?
70,000.
I mean, we're only worried about a one-year budget here, that 70,000 is not gonna start on January 1, right? I know you should, maybe first year you should budget partial year for someone, because the following year is full year. That alone, if that person gets hired January 15th, it's a break-even budget instead of January 1, isn't it?
I know maintenance, I think Danny is leaving, so,
That would be a replacement.
yeah, that'd be a replacement.
But maintenance does have an additional body.
Yeah, and we,
Under the budget. What if you just backed off those salary, say the HR salary by $4,000? Not even a salary, less than that, because of add-ons that go with the salary.
I'm really not for adding that many people. It's a bad time to be adding a whole lot of people.
You know, I don't think you have a choice under Marshall.
no, we don't.
No, I agree. That's why I said
No.
that one, I think we all agree, that one is a,
We're playing with fire without
So.
an HR person.
No, yeah, we are. So those two I've got check marked by.
I think you can make up the 3,500 in local use tax, so I did leave it flat from 19 with no increase, and it's over 2.3 at the moment. I mean, you can make up the $3,000 there. Cause I don't even have a 1% increase in that local use tax.
Changes so much, I'm 3,000 here.
You know, 1% would be 19,000, so you would be less than a 1% increase on that from the 19 number. And this year alone, we're up. Was that one calculated? Percent increase. 2, 3, 6, 8. 21%.
I know the health department, Chris he's being stretched a bunch of different ways, so,
COVID,
well, yeah, he's working both. He's doing COVID, he's doing,
So, I mean, I think his position falls under the money you're taking in through CARES to offset the health department salaries. I mean,
Yeah,
I
you're
think
probably
that would
right,
be
yeah.
a position
Yeah.
that you could consider part of that.
yeah,
for 1 year.
yeah, that's 1 year.
yeah.
Right, but none of that money is in here, so if you take another 600,000, just estimating, I don't know, we need to back off her.
About 400. But I didn't ask benefits.
Right, we don't have benefits on there. So, I mean, that money is not in here at all.
I'm not using that money though to consider adding people though, because it's one-time money, it's not gonna be there to keep funding those positions. So,
This is probably not the right time to bring this up, but has there ever been discussion that our reserves are too healthy?
So I do have the 3 million in there for capital improvements in general.
I will send you a thing that we had done on the reserves, or what our goals are for each fund. I can send you that. It was done quite a few years ago. It was done when we were doing the bond issue, and we had the financial consultant lady do that for us too. So I'll share that with you.
I think we've gone based on 6 million being the goal, so we're almost double that.
And say we just, this COVID, we just haven't,
Well,
it's kind of changed.
You can just disregard 20, and I could have asked the same question a year ago.
Yeah.
Or 2 years ago. When I tell a few people that I'm going to become a commissioner in the county, and they ask about reserves, and I throw a number at them, are you sure? That sounds fine. Now, I'm not saying that we need to spend every dollar, but I'm not going there at all, but at some point, if we've got too much in reserves, it means we're paying too much from the taxpayers.
Somewhere soon, we're gonna have to do some major,
Well, that's it.
either the courthouse or whether, and we really need, with the fifth judge coming on, we need to look and see, do we wanna go over to 209 and maybe tear down that building and do we wanna tear down the jail and do the addition that they, I mean, we need more space.
I
And
understand
so,
that, Sam,
yeah.
but you know what? If we are a county that can afford to use its reserves to buy assets that are gonna last 50 or 60 years, that, there aren't many counties that could or would do that. They finance
Mhm.
an addition of that sort.
Well, I think we'll have to finance some as well.
Well, but, Kristen, you laid back $1.5 million a year ago, we hadn't spent any of it, why ain't back another $1.5 million going forward? So it's not like we haven't planned for some of these fixed asset additions.
So right now, the 1.682 under activity is a surplus of money this year. And that's where I added the additional 1.5 is to spend that surplus that was brought in this year, which could be closer to 2 million by the time we're said and done. But I don't think so.
we can spend that down tomorrow with what projects we have here.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't say as we're taking too much tax money. I think we've been smart with our money to build a nest egg like that, so. Most of our projects that we'd be able to afford to do after saving that money up over the years. Now, whatever we do at the old jail, that one's probably gonna take something bigger, but
I think, looking at maintenance, putting a sixth in maintenance, I don't want to short Greg, but if we're going to hire a replacement, and we've talked about maybe bidding out the grass cutting, which would take some off of him, although he says that's not a time consuming, I don't know, out of all of them, that's one we could
Well, that, it may not be time consuming, but I know there's been discussion in the past whether it is equipment consuming.
Well, I know, and that's too, looking at the,
Giant mower that costs
15,000?
yeah. So, and then we've got, yeah,
Well, and there's quite a bit on his equipment list, if you're not going to do mowing with like the trailer and the
yeah.
mower and that kind of stuff. Now, I don't know as far as like snow removal, if he was.
He's still gonna need that, cause
still need
he,
that, I don't know.
yeah.
But we've also spent quite a bit of money on volunteer just at one facility.
What did we spend over at the,
Out of here. Back to the 24%.
Chris, what's the name of that company again?
I thought it was Midstate. The 150 a month, times probably 7 or 8 months. Yeah. Or no, it was 150.
This year so far, we spent 49.4.
Yeah, 4940, from 1214 of 19 to 1214 of 20.
We just paid us,
so 5,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
and that's one building. Probably the biggest one.
But what do we have in there for salary? So 28. I mean, you could have 3 buildings for that.
And you don't have all the equipment. I mean, I think,
You got duplication there too. I mean, you got Public Works doing some stuff that you can farm out as well. They've
Well,
got
and
some
that
equipment
28
in there
doesn't
well.
have the benefits on it, so you're talking another 40% on top of that, because that one has health insurance added as well. So, probably more than that.
I know we look,
Remember the last time we bid that out, what we were talking as far as total cost? I don't
It was
remember.
hard,
Was it like in the 30s or?
but it included the car, so that made it really hard.
Yeah, the biggest one was County Park.
Yeah.
Which Greg isn't mowing at the moment.
No, Public Works is. And they've got,
And they've got a part-timer in their budget for that.
right, and they've got a bunch of equipment that they want to purchase to
mhm.
do that as well.
It could be something we look into again, instead of that.
Well,
I
and
don't think that's
we
one of the-
eliminated some of those other smaller, like roundabout, like didn't we go through those properties and?
I think we ended up getting rid of.
Well, so we got rid of Wren's Lake, which they were doing some stuff over there. And we got rid of that park in Osage City, and I think those are the only two, really. We still got Brooks Park and Thanen Park and County Park, and then a few other little roundabouts, I think that they probably have to get with Eric and Brian on that to see, but County Park's the big one.
So Greg does, I mean, the courthouse here and the jail, and I guess Pringer's. And those, none of those
The
are
lessee
real
out there at
big.
County Park's mowing quite a bit of it.
Huh?
Said the lessee out at County Park's mowing quite a bit of it.
And there was always the concept of getting a cleaning company in here at night versus hiring. But I know that's not popular, but
I think I got a quote from Radels, and
I mean, I think you've been, I held it back last year because it does fluctuate some. Go to that. Just that. I mean, it's been consistently growing since 17. 1314, 1719, 23, and I still have it at 19. I mean, I don't know that a 1% on there would be. And you can have 19,000, that, and I don't think it would.
Yeah, line.
Right, I don't think it would be outlined.
But my thoughts are, we're conservative on the big revenue numbers. At least you can make that argument, that if elected officials and department directors stay within their budget, and we do this little, we add these six, we adjust use tax up a smidgen, have a budget, and knowing that any of the expenditures, budgeted expenditures, are not gonna take place because you're not gonna hire those 6 people on January 1. Those 6 additional people, the 10 EMS people are not gonna be on payroll on January 1. So I think,
Are we going to pay forms for any of this?
They may be on board. I think he's got a bunch of them ready to go.
I thought he had 4 that are,
We have
I don't think
pre-hired
I-
stuff.
I'm sorry?
I was gonna say, I haven't seen pay forms for those yet.
but I mean, right now, I guess we're on GR, so.
Right,
Stay
right.
there, but staying on, just on GR, adding those 6, we know they're not gonna all start on the first. And, you got to keep, you can adjust that revenue number, so. When we're talking about $14 million budget, and we're
22.
spending a lot of time talking about $3,500.
Well, we got 6 positions total though, so it's 6 times however many people. And that's quite a bit of raise for the existing people we got that we could take care of too, so that's another thing to consider.
But,
About 350,000. With that.
For those 6 positions?
but the, I mean, you're saying we can't not do the federal, or the deputy marshal, and we're for sure doing HR.
Well,
They're
if we
the
have
two
a place,
highest paid ones out of the list.
if we have a place for HR,
Cause that's 115. wanna hold off on the maintenance worker and bid out the mowing? And see where it comes in at?
I know we looked at it before and it,
And Greg would tell you, he'll want that person for doing more than mowing.
yeah, no.
And he actually asked for 2 in the budget.
And I'm not sure, when we were talking to him, that we talked about having this position as the one that he could count on underneath him.
Well, I think somewhere down the road, that salary's not in,
Or promoting one that comes.
yeah.
I'd be more apt to consider that than I would another person. And then-
But being either one of the ones he currently has or the one, he has one
I think
retired.
telling me he needed to have a second
Yeah, he has
charge
one.
for as long as he's been here.
So
So-
you're thinking increase the salary for the one that's open and maybe get,
No, I'm thinking of that we will just up the one that's open to a deputy position. Use that position and this one here, this maintenance position. So maybe the process more money. He needs somebody right at it, whether.
I'm not adding a person, I'm not for adding a person for him, but I'd be fine having a second in charge or a
I thought
second.
that's what he was saying, was changing one of the ones he has, which he will have one open, changing their salary to more to make it a second.
I'm not saying that you don't need help, especially with this COVID crap and bookkeeping and stuff right now. I'm just not into adding people right now. I'm not saying it wouldn't be something to reconsider in the middle of the year, see what the vaccine does. Maybe that does slow it down, get it in control, and changes everything around, and we see what's going on.
But I can't tell you that the bulk of our work is COVID. It's pulling us away more, but, we're not even halfway done with inventory that's supposed to be done in 2 weeks. I have budget stuff that's not getting done, like EMS's addition of a department. I don't have time. There's not enough hours in the day to complete all the work that's supposed to be coming from our office.
Sleeping,
And I would say-
Somebody just gets told, nope, not gonna happen today.
Okay.
sleeping is overrated.
You be prepared when you're the one told no.
All right.
And I don't want to be coming back.
Because we can't keep going at the pace we're going. It's not happening. So someone.
Well, I don't know enough about the prosecutor's legal assistant, but
Well, let's get him down
does
and
he
we talk
have
to him
more?
too. Anybody wants a
does
person
he
needs
have
to be in the
more-
same room at the same time, fighting the same fight.
Yeah, how many more attorneys does
So,
he have now? that
Get them
he-
all down here. Get Greg in here.
I know Brenda and Paulette. So if we do all of maintenance and then talk to Greg and see.
You want them all here after lunch?
I already got my answer. If we can find a place for HR, that one is one that I think we really need to push. Otherwise, it's gonna cost us even more in the long run. And then the marshal, we really don't have a choice on. And temporarily, if we gotta get somebody to help do some work for your office, I think we can do it for less money. If we need to. Locke always needs more help up there. He's gotten some people. I think Greg has enough. And poor Christie, I always tell her no on hers too right now.
I'll see, I'm for the health department. I think, and I'm probably okay with Kristen's. So the two, it's the prosecuting attorney and Greg.
Harry said all six, right?
Yes.
I'll just say it's a slippery slope. I mean,
Yeah,
we keep adding people and budgets don't get any easier and, I mean,
But you also have to realize you keep adding people in the sheriff, you keep adding people in EMS, but the people that are doing the bulk of the work for that payroll and those expenses and all that stuff, you're not adding any help to us. You're adding more work in other places, but you're not adding any help in the departments that are dealing with them all the time.
Like we said, again, when we start somebody at a department level, more than what we're starting people that are here working with all departments becomes an issue. And they only have one department.
I mean, that trickle down effect of, hey, this department's growing and this department's growing and this department's growing, it's trickling down to us in the accounting stuff. Because
I don't
it doesn't
disagree.
go away, it just keeps piling on more and more. And at some point, like, you can't handle all of the time and effort that goes into taking care of those people. And I know you wanna blame it on CARES, but that's not the problem.
It's not helping right now.
It's not helping, no.
It's gonna make it, that much worse. It's gonna multiply
But when
right
it
now.
goes away, it's not gonna help with any of the issues we're having with the day-to-day stuff that goes on. The budget grows, the fixed assets grow, the time away from the office grows. The help that those other departments need grows. The number of adjustments we do to fix things that are wrong grows. Just like the number of pay forms, the number of changes, the number of people to add and take benefits away from when they add or leave.
I mean, that's becoming very hard for us, even with an HR person, we can't keep up. When you take a week off,
And you spend
you're
the
spending a
next,
whole weekend here trying to catch up before, and that's not what a week off is about.
see, I'd be going on 11 bit maintenance, and I think there we need to talk to Greg and see how he's utilizing his people. And we've got to replace the one who's leaving. And then, like Jeff said, maybe look and see if there is one that can kind of become his deputy director, assistant, whatever. The only reason I'm saying now on the prosecuting attorney is with all the trials they're sitting on, when the courts do open up again, they're gonna be
Yeah, he's got that couple bills.
it sounds like you got what? You got 4?
5.
5?
Yeah, I was thinking about the prosecuting attorneys, but I think if he's got more attorneys up there, and then with all the trials they're sitting on, because I know they're talking about assigning attorneys to help a public defender so they can get this backlog. So I think they're going to be when the courts open up again and when they start, it's gonna be, see, I think Judge Joyce has pretty much had the courthouse, it's been doing limited for the last 2 months, 3 months.
Well, you got 2 of y'all that want the 4 positions, so,
5.
oh, you went to 5 now?
Yeah,
There were 6 total. And I thought
yeah.
you said you
So
were
the
good
only
with
one at
4.
maintenance, I would,
So now everybody
we
gets
need
it
to
except for
hire,
maintenance?
we need to hire the new, and then we need to talk to Greg and see.
Well, I mean, let's move on. We can
Yeah,
hash it all day
yeah,
long.
yeah.
We can do it all week long. It's not, I don't think it's gonna change my mind. I think we need to scale back right now. I'd rather give a bigger raise than to be hiring 6 more people, so, okay.
Okay.
So you wanna go through them one at a time and tell me which ones you want, don't want?
I think Harry was talking about all, Sam was good with all but maintenance, and I just had the 2 of them, so you got 2 of them for the 5.
So
Can
change
I
the
add
thing.
another one?
Well, that's what's gonna happen next year. We're gonna have 72 people wanting an extra person because we got more elections, we got more stuff to collect taxes on, and
I hope
More
we'll be
assessment
back
sheets,
to
so.
some normalcy next year.
I don't even care when it's normal, it's a pain in the butt. Cause we don't ever have enough help.
Okay, so I'm taking the maintenance worker out. Did you want to talk about changing the salary of one of his people?
I think we need to talk to Greg. He's,
That's the lowest paid one out there, Sam.
well, Greg, yeah, I know he is.
Or the ones that you're approving.
Pulling out.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm looking at, though. I'm just looking at,
Well, I don't even know, yeah. When does Greg come back?
First year.
So
Can't remember what
that would be one we would add.
yeah, and
during
I can
the
talk to
year if we
Greg.
wanted, Because
but-
I don't know that we're gonna get the answers before the budget.
And if we're adding 6 more here and 10 more out there, I'm coming back the first quarter, period. And if we're adding one up there.
By the way,
I'm
do it the
coming
first
back.
week. So we did it with the step pay charts, when we got that somewhat figured out, it was 2 weeks into the new year, and we were getting requests, so
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and just put it on the agenda.
So I'm taking maintenance worker out.
Yes, for right now, and I will talk to Greg, though, but I think maybe we can restructure his.
I will get that change made. Do you want to see it right now?
See
What
what
that-
change.
What that change does to the total budget?
Oh,
You want to see it right now?
Sure.
How do you know how much the change?
if it's ready or whatever.
I don't. That's what I'm saying. That would have to be.
Are we
done
taking a
later.
lunch break?
Yes, we are. After we get done with this, we
So we're
will.
gonna have like an hour lunch break?
Yeah, because, see, I'm,
No, I was wondering, I
Yes.
thought you said that, or I saw it built in there and I didn't know.
no, we're gonna take a lunch break. You know, if we ever get a new chamber, I want windows. Sitting in here with no windows and it's all artificial, I want windows.
Are you kidding? Jeff would be seeing squirrels right and left.
I was just saying, yes, for a long
Hey,
thing.
we move everything, see, it's,
Why don't you put it on the main floor of High Street too, so you can see everybody that walks by?
I don't want that, See, I think the Carnegie Building would be neat for us. We stick Kristen over there with us. She can bring us coffee.
It's too quiet. Is this the calm before the storm?
Shouldn't be. I'll call Greg when we break for lunch.
I should be about done
I
today.
was gonna say, I don't know how much more you all want to talk about.
So do we have just a little bit then and we can be done for the day?
I don't have, I mean, we talked about sales tax, we talked about economic development. This should finish salary discussion unless you want to talk about other adjustments somewhere.
So if I talk to Matt, because I'll probably just want to let him know about what we're putting in for Eco Devo. We've got 150 in there,
Mm-hmm, total.
but we don't know how much is going to them.
120 for
One-
eco.
120 is,
120 plus 30 for a lobbyist and 5 for,
So we have
Salute.
120.
120.
Okay. I was just wanting to clarify.
that was your number.
No, his number was 60,000.
So are we not talking about merits between any
So
other?
I'll let him know,
departments?
kinda.
About merit?
Sam doesn't even know her.
Who?
Merritt.
Okay, taking out that.
I dated her sister.
Taking out that position puts you 19,490 to the black.
See?
I'll take that 19,000.
That wouldn't even pay for the tires for my Porsche 911.
We could get rid of a couple of those positions and we could do a 3% raise for everybody that we got for our existing employees. I'm just trying to change your mind.
I remember, I think it was the first or second year, and you guys, no new FTE, no. We
I don't
didn't.
think I've ever seen this
We
many
didn't.
volunteer. Hopefully not.
We didn't.
In other departments.
In other departments, yeah. With other departments.
Make sure I got a fresh battery in here for the rest of the year.
No.
There we
I'm
go.
gonna bring mine up now if you're gonna say that.
I gave you the HR.
It's not gonna relieve any of our day-to-day activities.
That should. There's a lot of stuff you do that's HR that needs to be done by an HR person.
Depends what you're gonna, I mean, I want them to be doing the manual, I want them to be doing job descriptions, I want them to be.
So anytime somebody gets hired, that's who should be dealing with them.
Mm-hmm.
Not you, not Chelsea.
We're doing the benefits and the specialist stuff on that. Just
Why?
come stay with me for a week.
Why?
Find out what we do.
Debbie,
No, come
we already
stay
fight
with me.
like we're married.
Come stay.
This would not be good.
Come stay with me.
I've seen the people
Oh,
come.
I think that with the HR one,
Like sitting down.
it's gonna be,
Training for the.
they're not gonna be able to do their job, they're gonna be
That's
doing the
exactly
manual,
what that
everything
job
else,
is
but.
for.
Same thing, filling out their forms, like their onboarding of here's your packet of stuff, like talking them through that. I think that would be a
We
good.
don't hardly do that much. It's all online. They can do all that online. All we do is get the forms from them. Just like when Harry filled out his forms, he brought the forms in.
Oh, that's
We have to
exactly
go
what the
on
HR
each-
person could do.
We have to go onto each website and do that, upload them. It's not just uploading the form. Anymore, we.
You get the form filled out, then you all can enter it, then you got two people looking over it, knowing if something's wrong or if something's missing.
Okay. Come stay with me for a week. please.
Does he give meals?
I thought she was gonna
You
be
give
nice to me
meals
since I was working
included?
on the HR person for her, and that's
I
just
mean, I
it.
appreciate that. I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it.
It is.
But you're gonna have to turn loose of some of your stuff.
She will. Hey, I'm
You
gonna
know how long it
defend,
took her to
I'm
let
gonna
Chelsea
defend,
even have a key to the door?
I'm gonna defend Debbie.
You gotta admit, it took you a long time to let her, give her enough rope to even hang herself.
There's a lot of things you can screw up, Judge, so you have to know what you're doing.
Oh, I know.
You can't just,
It took her about 7 years before you gave her opportunity to screw it up.
Okay, children. Anything
Yes.
else then,
I think there was
Kristen,
still here.
or?
We just giving you that
So
speech.
I didn't, I saw the sheriff come back and then I saw him leave again. I think his is the only one where we really have open items to talk about. Is if you wanted to do something else in his department, if he found the money.
So he's gonna try to find the money for the other requests is what it amounts to, right?
Right. I mean, otherwise, I don't have anything unless you want to go back and talk about doing some merit with like this 19,000 or anything like that.
I think Brent was needing a raise. I think our IT guy was one of them that I still think, I don't know, it's the money we saved with him in there. So if we did something like that, what other ones did we have?
I wanna do
There's
s-
quite a few departments that Debbie.
Yeah, I wanna do, I wanna
Debbie,
do,
Debbie.
We
Oh,
had,
man, don't make Debbie's up
That
now.
always get overlooked.
no, I wanna do something with
You
our
overlooked
office
on
here.
purpose there.
I know.
You gotta smile, Debbie. Smile. It's budget time.
I know, another big one was public administrator. He wanted to change those people from admin to deputies.
So, and I made that argument when Joe was here that he needed a deputy, so that if he's gone or hell, if he's incapacitated,
And wasn't that
somebody's gotta
like-
be able to do
I didn't
that.
think that was any change.
Wasn't
in
that like 6,000 different?
6,000.
6,000 different, so,
Yeah.
which is minuscule.
Yeah. I just,
Making sure we don't.
No, it's, yeah, I
I got a
think,
door to get out of here.
I think everything considered, hell, I'll give him the $6,000 if he.
no.
But,
Trying to think of who else that.
All right, which one we wanna tackle these after lunch?
That's fine, we can come back and do those. I'll go through and try to make a list of who they were, because I have.
Okay, yeah, cause I'm gonna have to dig them back out again too.
okay,
I actually think I have them on a spreadsheet already.
so do we want to recess till 1 or 1:30 or,
Wednesday,
Let's do 1:30.
okay.
so we'll
Then I-
have these to talk about, and then we got it on the agenda tomorrow and Wednesday, so the sheriff stuff, if they get something taken care of tomorrow,
Yeah,
Well, so that's the question. I mean, other than carry forwards and stuff, I don't have a lot more to talk about unless you want to talk about changes to the sheriff. I mean, I don't have a lot on the list to talk about.
We have it
We'll
up-
go through those other merit requests this afternoon. And then I don't have anything on my agenda for tomorrow or Wednesday unless. you
well,
wanna
if the
bring
sheriff wants to come back this afternoon, then,
if the sheriff finds money for the other things that he's wanting to do and needs to make changes, we'll have to do that. And we can do that tomorrow or Wednesday. It's on the agenda, so. And that shouldn't take long. I think, cause he still knows he's got that pot of money and to get the other things he wanted.
So I guess my opinion would be, the agenda tomorrow is fairly long without the budget stuff. Maybe we just leave Wednesday to wrap things up if we need to and not do budget tomorrow. Is that okay? with you
yeah,
all?
that's
I'm
good.
fine. If something comes up and we
Come
have to
back
talk about it.
Wednesday for what?
Huh? Just if the sheriff has something to change. I mean, because that's really all I have on the list to talk about. If we do the merit stuff this afternoon, I don't have anything else. I mean,
So if the sheriff comes back and finds the money, then we're good?
well, are you guys good with what he wants to do if he finds the money for it? It's changing stipends and his is merit, I think, for his admin,
Yeah.
admin staff.
He is reimbursing some of them that have to have special training for different things and so. I don't think I had any problems with them.
If he can
We-
find the.
Yeah, if he can find the dollars, I'm
Yeah.
fine.
So we may not even have to come back Wednesday if, I mean, if there's one
Well-
thing to talk about tomorrow, we can talk about it.
I mean, if that's the only thing we've got to talk about tomorrow is the sheriff's, we'll still be out of here.
I'll be in Debbie's office, so I'll be here.
I mean, that's
You're gonna have to wear your mask.
I've got my COVID card, baby, right there.
Because we need some time to do new pay forms if we're giving that COLA, so we're gonna have to get new pay forms signed. There's gonna be something outside of here that we're gonna have to wrap up to before the end of the year. And then, yes, we have a ton of care stuff to do.
forms will need to have Harry's name on them and be signed after the first year.
That's fine, we need to.
Hey, Harry.
Yeah, it doesn't
With
happen.
Melody, she can make you a stamp.
She already has.
Well, I was gonna wait till you had to sign all the forms once at least. Since we got 300.
It doesn't have a name on it, it's just a title, so.
When I came in, Chris used to bring these boxes of all the invoices to go through, and I'm going, jeez.
Yeah.
And you, I mean, you, after about a third of the first box, you're
Yeah.
like,
Come a long way.
yeah,
haven't
he,
Stacks of them.
if you want to go back to that, we
Online.
we can. But I remember that, Chris.
You can
So,
fill.
coming back at 1:30?
1:30.
Yeah,
I move we stand at recess till 1:30.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I do, you know,
Well, you can't sign the pay forms till the budget's approved.
yeah, I know.
But we can get the department's signatures and all that
Oh, yeah.
stuff ready to go.
Yeah.
Because that's what takes the longest.
Yeah, I can't, I might have to stand this afternoon.
We don't have much this afternoon, do we?
No.
Should. That's good. So
we should be
done by noon tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, because really we have a lot, but I don't know if there's that much discussion. Isn't that fun?
Put something on the chair.
I don't know. Take this recess till 1:30. So I guess you can just turn it on.
Okay.
Did you make the motion?
Sam did and Jeff seconded.
You have to hold the button in at the very tip.